Hello Europe and welcome in to the Unite Fight Club. I love that we've got Lobo's photo up. I believe Lobo is currently struggling. He's still asleep at the moment, we think. But anyways, I'm here and I am the one that is going to take you through what's currently going on here in the Unite Fight Club. We've got some exciting games tonight, guys. But of course, it wouldn't be possible without our sponsor. We got to talk about it. We get amazing clean games here in the Unite Fight Clubs because of the amazing clean meals that our sponsor HelloFresh can create. And you can get yourself your own 10 free meals and free add-ons for life using that promo code that you can see on screen. We've been calling it POGFA162760 and get yourself that amazing deal, guys. It is tasty, fresh, clean food, and we are going to have some tasty, fresh, clean games for you today. I'm excited for this. We've got some brilliant matchups that we'll bring up the schedule later on, but to begin with, we've got to explain certain things. We've got to explain the Fearless Draft to you all because, of course, we do it every time we kick it on off. Fearless Draft is a feature that has been demanded by players, by viewers, by me as a caster because I love it so much. Let's get that up on the screen and we'll show you how that works. But basically, Unite Fight Club is a best of 5 in these first 2 weeks, and then we go to open qualifiers. But right now, best of 5 as of today. So get the Fearless Draft up on the screen. Let's go, production. Thank you so much. Here it is. So, as you can see from this description here, chat, if you pick those Pokemon in match 1, you can no longer play those Pokemon for the rest of the set. Same as match 2, and it carries on and carries on. So if we are doing a best of 5 and you end up in that 5th game, you have a grand total of 20 Pokemon each that you can't pick before you even pick the bans for the game. So that's 40 Pokemon that are banned out across the board realistically, and then you have the 6 bans on top. That's 46 Pokemon, which is pretty much half the roster for Pokemon Unite, chat. So it's an incredible feature. We absolutely love it, and it means that we have seen some crazy Pokemon brought out in these games because of that flexibility that you have to have. So you don't want to pick those meta picks to begin with because you can't play them again for the rest of the game. So you can't have all meta picks straight away in game 1. You've got to think about the end game and you've got to be flexible with it, chat. So I love the Fearless Draft. Let's bring up some of the stats that we currently have from the previous weeks that have been going on. This is like the 4th week now that we've been doing the Unite Fight Club. So we have started to develop quite a bit of data. So let's get those stats brought up to show you. I believe we've got some stats regarding the scoring, regarding the healing and the damage given. This looks to be the stats regarding KOs. So out of all of them so far, not much difference from the previous week that we showed you, just more consistency. We've got Toast there in top 3, Jose top 3, Natsuzawa the number 1 spot. Very close though, as we have a look on that left-hand side, guys. It's going to be these heavy carries that you see. Toast there at the 3rd spot, 83. So let's move on to the next stats that we can see. What we're going to be having a nosy at here. Scores. Fantastic. Thank you so much, production. This is the total scoring that we've been seeing from these players. Recognize the fact that Jose and Toast were top 3 for the KOs. They're also here as top 5 for scoring. Might tell you the kind of Pokemon that they were currently playing on. Oscar making an appearance here as well. And so is a Yami as one of those ranged attackers. So a lot of flexibility across the board here for a lot of different teams on this stats. And then I believe we've got one more that we can bring you before we tell you the schedule of the day. Healing stats. Yes, this is it. So this is it. Healing stats. Ayame's taking that number 1 spot. We've got Galna Gunner, Alba Noah on the screen. Where is on there as well. Indigo's on there twice. They are pretty comfortable. Juare being on there as a tank player, defender player with their own self-recovery as well. Love it. Love what we're seeing here. And we'll continue to develop these stats as we go on throughout the Unite Fight Club. But this is all information that you can get off the website, playunite.pro or playpro.unite. I've still not got it down, but it is an amazing website. We'll put a link in the chat, guys, and you can see all of this. We're going to go at damage as well. and then I think we'll head on over to the schedule. Guys, this is the damage. There's some big numbers here. Damage given. This is Juare in number 1 spot for damage given. Chat. Now, people tell me that these defenders are not overtuned. We have damage given here as a leaderboard, and Juare is in the number 1 spot. Jose, who is typically the carry for their team, is in that 2nd spot. Look at the difference in that actual score. That's ridiculous. That's probably from the Snorlax play, I'm going to say, from Juare, as well as that Trevenant. That's a bit crazy. Pokemon Unite need to look into this. They need nerfing, bro. But let's have a look at the next screen. We're going to bring you the schedule so we know what's currently going on today. Who are playing? Los Duros are taking on Guerrilla Tactics. Los Duros are fresh off an upset win in the EUL, and they played incredibly, chat. I was very amazed at their play. Cannot wait for that game. Then we're going to kick things off with MTZ Esports, who were very impressive yesterday. Monday even, last time we were here on the stream, versus Arigato, who have also played in the Unite Fight Club before. So this is going to be a very interesting game to range things out. That is your schedule. Let's wait for the game to be ready to go. I am just going to take a quick drink myself. And then we'll be ready to go. I've got my Dr. Pepper, chat. I'm ready to go. I just got to wait for these games to be ready to kick off. But we have some more changes coming to Pokemon Unite, chat. We have, of course, the new Groudon map. We've seen it for a little while now. But on top of that, we have a new arrival coming to Pokemon Unite tomorrow. Empoleon is here. Piplup will finally be in the game. And I tell you what, even more exciting is the fact that you can get yourself Empoleon by the very giveaway that we're going to be doing. Head on over to the INGAGE GG X or Twitter, whatever you like to call it, and hit the latest post. All you got to do is like it, retweet it, and then get inside our Discord, and you will be entered to win yourself the Empoleon license. A lot of people are very excited for this Pokemon to join Pokemon Unite. I can understand why. I like water types. I like the fact that they're getting more starters involved. Me, though, I don't know. I feel like Delmise is the Pokemon that I am most excited for, but these new ones coming into the game are very, very good picks, from my opinion, on the side of Timmy. All we hope for now is Cubone, my guy, over here on my hat. We need Cubone in the game. What I do want to know is what Pokemon you want in the game. Let me know. While we're waiting for these games to kick off, and I don't have my other incredible caster here to bounce off, it'll be very useful to have something to bounce off. So let me know who you want in this game. And of course, get yourself over to the INGAGE GG Twitter or X and get tweeting for that Empoleon giveaway. Los Duros versus Guerrilla Tactics to kick things off here. As I've said, Los Duros, I was covering their game in the European League on Wednesday on my stream. Come follow me on my stream, by the way. I cover the European games. Oh, we got a special co-caster coming my way. Very excited for that. But yeah, Los Duros, I saw them play. They were going up against Mia Familia, who I think it was Mia Familia, who I've slept since then, guys, who have a better record than them, and they did the upset. They did the upset. They managed to get the win, and it was joyous. It was fantastic. Great to see. Really enjoyed it. No, I think it was Crash Out GG, actually, now I remember. Danny, one of my favorite ranged attackers in the game. Cannot stop watching them when they're on the screen. The Alolan Raichu is up there. It's absolutely awesome. So I'm very excited to see this first matchup. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. And MTZ Esports on the scene as a new team, chat. Let me go find some of their information that we were talking about on Monday. Because, boy, to come in as a new team and put up such an impressive showing like they did. I mean, we're going to be honest. New teams coming into the Unite Fight Club against teams that have played it before. We expect not to do that well. We expect them to get 2-0. Do we expect them to lose? That was absolutely not the case that we saw on Monday. So, yeah, I was very impressed with them. They were a new team formed recently. Now, I say new team, but they have all played Pokemon Unite since it released. So, you know, it's not like they're new players. But they are new to the competitive scene. They haven't really played competitive Pokemon Unite, which we know very, very different. Well, I mean, as a team, a lot of their players have. 2 of them were former players on LFD, Les Flacons de Meuse. Apologies for butchering that. Knight was the central area player, and Armora, the top laner, was from LFD. So, yeah, that's pretty exciting. I can't wait to see how they develop in the next set. But this is it. We are in on game 1. Thank you so much, because I was running out of words to say there. So Los Duros are going to be the first pick. Looking at the bans, the Alolan Raichu taken away off the field, even though Danny is on the side of Los Duros. So they have a different plan for Danny here. That she's going to bring out the a different ranged attacker. What a Guerrilla Tactics, another fan favorite team, by the way. Going to pick first. Oh, Danny is, of course, going to go for the Venusaur. We will continue to see the domination of Venusaur in this game with the way that Fire Sky Ruins is now. If it isn't getting banned, you can bet your bottom dollar it will be a #1 pick. Jimido is going to lock in the Blissey, and Paloma Hunter is going to have the Snorlax. So they've got a very good core of their comp setup already on the side of Guerrilla Tactics. 2 of the best in the very roles that they play. Oscar coming on out with the Buzzwole that they are so comfortable on. That is going to make it even more difficult for Guerrilla Tactics, but Tibby is going to bring out the Sword Doggo here, the all-rounder master, having access to that legendary, and Chari King locks in the Delphox. We've been seeing this Pokemon a lot more recently, especially the Flame Charge build, and I am so on board with it. We've seen it in the past week. If you hit level 12, level 13 at those final few moments, as soon as Groudon's on the field, impossible to catch that Pokemon. So that's why Louisin's going to go on here with the Talonflame, and No Way's going to range it out here with the Umbreon. Now they could go for Wish, they can go for Foul Play, they can go for Mean Look, they can go for Snarl. I actually like the Snarl Foul Play build, or even Foul Play Wish, but I think would be very good at trying to disrupt the team that Guerrilla Tactics have put together here. Relly is going to range things out with a Darkrai. This is going to be a great matchup, guys. They have more range on the side of Los Duros, with Danny being able to throw those beams if they want to go for the Venusaur. Looks like that is going to be the case with those items. But Guerrilla Tactics, I think, probably have the better crowd control from their Speedster. Louisin's going to want to use the Fly, go on up diving onto Chari King, but let me tell you now, it'll be easy to do that in the early stages of the game, but in the late game where it matters, that's not going to be an easy feat. Especially as soon as they manage to get that Flame Charge that they've got to those later levels. That's not going to be an easy task, guys. So this is a good matchup. I like this. I would say both of these teams closely matched anyway, but I think Guerrilla Tactics at the moment people will probably have in favor. They have been an impressive team. People think that they are worthy of that sort of higher ranking at the moment, higher seeding, but you can never count Los Duros out. They are all solid players, and I don't know where this one's going to go, but I tell you what, I'm going to be obsessed to see how they try and handle Danny, because I haven't seen any team here in the Unite Fight Club manage to contain that ranged attacker just yet. Here we go, though. This is match 1 in the first best of 5 for the night. Los Duros here on your left-hand side. Guerrilla Tactics here on your right-hand side. We are going to have an all-rounder matchup in the top lane as expected. It is a battle for level 5 up there between Buzzwole and Zacian. Down here, no easy task to try and deal with Paloma Hunter on the Snorlax, but they do manage to get a little bit of farm. But now they've got to be wary, because look at the damage that comes out of that big beefy boy as they do get back to the pad. Chari King is definitely easier to handle on the side of that poor little fox. I'm very surprised they've taken the fox into the lane. But at least They're getting that first Evo. Here comes Louisian diving on in with the acrobatics. Just trying to cause a lot of nuisance here for Guerrilla Tactics. Danny is looking for that KO, trying to bait them in onto the farm. Probably a very easy Pokemon to find it with as well, but Relly is here now and trying to really cut down around onto Danny. Brilliantly blocked off by No Way as just the Eevee at the moment. Here comes Louisian looking for the KO as well, but look at the damage that happens with the sleep. Passive is popped on the side of Danny. They do get quite a bit of that farm, but now, because Louisian's had to come into this bottom lane, they are having a difficult matchup up here. They've managed to stop Albanoa getting that evolution, and that's enabled Tibby to get to level 6. Not an easy feat now, but they've just hit level 5 on Buzzwole. Going on in, they do try and see if they can find the KO onto the Zacian, but instead they go packing on the side of Louisian. Foul play is going to come out from No Way here. Manages to pull Snorlax off the pad and get the KO. Pretty huge for Los Duros, because now it's just Cherry King having to defend against 2, and it's very hard to do with a Pokemon that doesn't have a fast attack rate. Regidrago is on the field now. Rotating here down to the bottom lane. We see Relly getting set up to go on. Coming into the lane here on side of the Darkrai. And No Way has been caught out, unfortunately. Ivysaur is on the field, though. Danny's hit level 6. Regidrago is going to be uncontested unless Louisian can get there. Now they are Talonflame. They've got access to the Fly, guys. Or even Brave Bird. I'm suspecting Fly. Yeah, it is going to be Fly. Too early, and all that's going to do is allow the Sacred Sword to come through and find the secure. Difficult because the second they knew the Talonflame was there, they weren't going to go for the rip, and as soon as they saw Zacian, Louisian knew they wouldn't be able to win that, but they can come up here and find a KO. Tibby's going to get away. Ridiculous, as No Way's put to sleep. Not able to dash on through with the Flame Charge. Didn't have it ready to go. Buzzwole does, though, as Oscar utilizing these superpower smackdowns to try and find combos, try and find the KOs. They're going to take out the support here for Guerrilla Tactics. But now they're in a bit of a sticky situation. Cherry King's going to be harder to catch, although it will be quite a cooldown on it. All right, 6:40 on the clock right now, chat. Right, it's 60 points to 12. Los Duros have more levels. Guerrilla Tactics at the moment have managed to keep up at least, but they don't have the points to boot either. Both objectives are up. It is a Registeel in the top side as well. The rip comes in from Tibby. The Fly comes through a little bit too early, but they find the secure anyway as Oscar takes it. Even more experience, and now you've got 3 Unite moves on the field for Los Duros. Technically 4, because Umbreon, of course, has theirs. Oh, and the Clefable. They have the resources. Guerrilla Tactics just lagging behind a little bit, but they do have level 10 on the side of Relly. Danny's trying to see if they can get close enough for it. Unfortunately, they can't. Verdant Anger to the face comes on out. Heavy slammed back to the Pokemon Center. Regieleki is going to reset. Danny has done enough to allow their team to get down here. And with that super swole slam, trying to find Relly, but they break a couple ankles. Put Oscar to sleep, but they can't get away from the arms of Buzzwole as they go back to the Pokemon Center. Rip on the Regieleki's coming in now from Guerrilla Tactics. Good yawn comes out from Paloma Hunter. Big beam coming through from Danny. Fanciful Fireworks is down now, though. Los Duros may be losing this fight. Flame Sweep is going to come through. Manages to pull at least the support out of the way. But can they find the KO onto Tibby? That has to be the main target. They do. Did not want that Sovereign Sword in that fight, even though it's now on cooldown. Regieleki. Looks like it could reset. There we go. It's going to reset. Cherry King is pretty weak here. Don't want to be getting caught in the damage from Regieleki. In the meantime, though, what an effort from Paloma, Hunter, and Relly to hold Los Duros on this pad. Unfortunately, Danny goes into the worst nightmare. That's not where you want to be if you are a Bimusaur, and that's going to come on through with a KO for Relly. They're going to sacrifice themselves for Guerrilla Tactics to get out of that. And now Los Duros have to deal with the Regieleki. We've got the Reggie spawning in the top lane in about 10 seconds time. Just got to grab what experience you can if you're Guerrilla Tactics. Again, you need to make sure that you're keeping up with these levels. They've definitely caught up. But points-wise, they still need more. They know, though, this is a late game kind of comp. This is a late game win that they need to look for on the side of Guerrilla Tactics. Is the only thing that matters. It may not be Rayquaza anymore, chat, but when games are this close, Groudon is 100% the only thing that matters. Look at this, the damage that Rally takes. Flame Sweep is going to hit the wall. The worst enemy of the Talonflame, but they do manage to find the KO on the side of Zacian. Not before King has found their own KO, though. Umbreon managing to get the revenge. Huge beam goes on to Rally, and they're still around. I'm telling you, chat. This Darkrai, it's underrated. It is still very broken. In fact, I think I saw a tweet recently from, I think it was Chris Heroes, about the amount of Pokemon that can do so much crowd control, but then also a ridiculous amount of damage, and Darkrai being one of the main offenders. I'm 100% with. I think it needs tweaking. What doesn't need tweaking, though, is the approach that we have on the side of Los Duros. They have been aggressive from the get-go. They've given themselves the level lead. They've given themselves the point lead. But the difficulty is, these points ain't going to mean nothing coming into final stretch. That's pretty much one back cap. And Guerrilla Tactics are well back into that in regards to score. Have managed to find level 13, though, on the side of Louisan. 30 seconds left. Teams still want to continue to fight it out. We do have a bottom Reggie. Regieleki ready to go. The 50 dunk in the T2 top lane is a little bit crazy. It's going to give them even more of a lead at the moment. Does mean they have to give up this Regieleki, but are you that concerned? Oh, you are, to be fair. That's going to go into a 26 goal. They have to defend this or just let them break it to begin with. That could be a massive overcap. It is. Brings them back at least. Of course, it was before the 2-minute mark, though, so smart play by Los Duros. Fanciful Fireworks goes down already. Massive Beam is going to come on through. Doesn't manage to find King. This is the power of Delphox at level 13. Look how impossible it is to catch. There's no cooldown on that Flame Charge, buddy, as they continue to burn down Umbreon. Looking now for the Talonflame. Guerrilla Tactics going for the rip on the Groudon. Gotta be wary of Oscatar. They've got their pocket healer here ready to go. Zoning them out is what Paloma Hunter does. Flame Sweep from behind, though, comes in from Louisan. Sovereign Sword is there. Oscatar falls. Guerrilla Tactics hunts down Los Duros one at a time, while Louisan tries to get their own revenge. Huge Beam comes through, but Tibby dodges out of the way, and Danny is now up the creek without a paddle as the team swarms around them. Finds the KO. No way. Having to see if they can pull the attention of Relly here. The rip continues on the Groudon, and with no way going down, Groudon is going to be secured here by Guerrilla Tactics. Oh boy, they are going to take this game realistically if they can get these points in. This is the power of Groudon, though. You can't instantly score. It's not unstoppable. It's quicker. And they do manage to sneak some in. They need more, though. We got 50 seconds left, chat. If they can take a couple of buffs here on the side of Los Duros, they could actually take the game. It's literal 7 points between these two right now. Fanciful Fireworks is a brilliant decision there by King as they tried to push this goal. They know they just need one more score to rain on through. And with this buff from Groudon, that's going to be all she wrote as Los Duros get aced. And Hundo Burgers reign in home. Brilliant effort by Guerrilla Tactics, but what a way to wait until the final moment. Very close game between these two. Just as we thought it would be. But the Groudon fight, a little bit too much for Los Duros to handle. And I think the difficulty is, and it's very uncharacteristic for Los Duros, is Danny didn't have enough frontline. They weren't able to sit behind enough frontline, which they usually do give the Venusaur when it comes out onto the field. If you were going to play the kind of comp that they just did, without that much frontline, you've kind of got to go Petal Dance. You've got to go Raid Boss Venu and just go for it, realistically. I mean, Delphox doesn't have that much range, but the Flame Charge makes it very hard to catch, even if you are on something like a Petal Dance Venu. So, what a great effort. 109k damage coming out from King there. 34.9% of the team damage. But looking across the board, Jean Madu 69.9% recovery. Ridiculous numbers there on that pink blob as we have a look at the graph. And we do see how close it was, with Los Duros managing to sneak a little bit of the lead. But Regidrago does go to Guerrilla Tactics. Registeals, of course, being the most important of the Regis in people's opinion. Either way, what a game that ended up being. Oh, that was tough. That was tough. Especially if you are, you're a Venusaur. You've got to keep those beams and you've got to keep away from the offense on the other side. And it wasn't easy for them to do that in the final few moments. All right, I believe we're going to take a quick break, chat. I've just heard from production while we get another caster online for us. Just give us a few minutes. We'll be back very shortly. I think. We are heading to break, yes. Welcome back, everybody. I told you we'd be very quick. I've got an amazing guest caster with me for this next game. It's the OG boss themselves, Zenith. How are you doing today, buddy?
I am excited, man. I'm excited. I haven't costed in over a year, but I've literally been hearing you and hearing Lobo throughout the year, and seeing these kind of games. I just feel like, you know what, if I can give myself an opportunity, I'm giving casters opportunities. If I can give myself an opportunity here and there, why not?
100%, mate. That's what we are all about. And Unite Fight Club kicked off here tonight, buddy, with an impressive showing from both teams. But Guerrilla Tactics managing to sneak away that win there. I believe you know a couple of these players, right?
Yeah, it is not surprising. They are, in my eyes, out of the 4 teams playing today, I think they are a true wildcard team, if there ever was. Like, they have some really amazing times, and they have games where I can see them taking on and demolishing teams, and at other times I see them being very inconsistent. But in terms of players that I know on the team, Jean-Mi is probably one of my highlight support players, probably in my top 3 support players for EU. And he was on Team Engage, captaining that last year as well, formerly Drill Peckers as well. And then you've got Cherry King, who is his reputation amongst the teams and Europe itself is speaks for itself. But I'm excited to see what happens here. Let's go.
Yeah, that I am. Of course, it is a best of 5 and it is Fearless Draft, chat. So that means those Pokemon that we just saw are not going to be playable again for those teams. So the Venusaur has already been pulled out of its pocket here for Los Duros.
Yeah, you know what? This is my first time seeing these three bands, and I love it already. It just brings so much to the dynamics. I can't wait for this. This is amazing, and especially from Lost Doors as well. Like, I've had good conversations with them. You know, you've spoken about Danny. Oscitor's someone that has a lot of experience with, you know, WCS in general. I'm excited to see how this runs out. What's it looking like at the moment with a Raichu as the first pick?
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the pick for Danny, but they're going to range it out with a Laddie Blue over on the side of Chari King as well. So Guerrilla Tactics fighting fire with fire here, trying to go for their own stacks on the ranged attacker.
Yeah, look, these are the two players that I highlighted on this team for Guerrilla Tactics. They're the first two picks, with Chari King on the Latios, which is, you know, his forte. He is the guy that would want to carry the team, and Jean-Mi on one of his really good mains. So it's exciting to see. This is Fearless Draft though, so you won't get this again.
Yeah, that's why we love Fearless Draft so much, and Tibby's going to lock in the Lucario. Tibby is such a good all-rounder player that, like, it doesn't matter how deep in this best of 5 gets, we know Tibby's going to be very comfortable on one of those all-rounders.
Yeah, Tibby is renowned for his all-rounders, and Lucario is a classic player, a classic Pokemon that is finding its way back into the meta really well as well. Like, we saw it in the Worlds, and there was a lot of doubt around it at the time as well.
That there was. What there has been even more doubt about has been the Mamoswine, but we've been seeing so much more of that, especially now when you've got this new Sky Ruins, you've got these all-rounders doing so well, you've got these speedsters even getting even better with their assassin ability. But this Mamoswine has been so important for it, and if the Ice Fangs and trying to shut them down with that crowd control.
Yeah, and we've just finished up with double all-rounders for the last two picks. This is kind of explaining what the meta scene is at the moment. How have you found this Charizard integrating back in? Because it is returned essentially.
Well, yeah, and I think I'm surprised that people don't play it more. So since the recent patch, it did get nerfed on its moves, but the Unite move didn't get touched, mate. And Charizard has a ridiculously low cooldown on such an important Unite move. You have it for every single team fight. So it's one of those Pokemon that I still feel should be picked up by every team, or at least built into a comp. And if it's not, it should be banned. We're seeing Lost Doros here. They know they're currently a game down, buddy. Very hard to start building momentum if you go 2 games down in a best of 5. So they're throwing everything they can at this team now.
Yeah, and it is looking interesting. If I take a look at this comp, I agree with you. I think Charizard is one of those Pokemon where, first of all, its highlight is the fact that its Unite does what it does. Essentially, it isolates the player from the game, and then it rains down with fire, which is a super cool tactic to pull off, even though the other moves may not be, you know, the most durable and the best moves to use.
100%, mate. And we do usually see teams try and use some sort of Pokemon to deal with that amount of damage that comes in from that Charizard. You know, we see the Psyduck coming out, we see the Slowbros coming out to deal with it. But when you pick it in that final slot, you've kind of forced to take the direction that Guerrilla Tactics did. You've already got your supporters and defenders on the field. You can't pick a direct counter pick to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, Tanner, let me just throw you something just to see how it works out here. But if you were to predict your MVP straight off the bat based on one game's experience, what would you say for each team?
Okay, so I'm going to say for Lost Doros, usually it would be Danny, but they struggled in that previous game. They'll do so much better now on the Alolan Raichu, but I think it'll be Oscitar. I think Oscitar is so important on Lost Doros, and we saw it in the previous game. Very difficult to handle. I can see that going on here. For Guerrilla Tactics, buddy, I'm torn because I feel it has to be Tibby, but I kind of know the strength that Jimadu has, and the team can't do what it does without him.
They've got some very, very experienced players on the side of Guerrilla Tactics. We've got a KO here and a bit of a push from Guerrilla Tactics on the bottom lane at the moment.
Trying to see if they can get the Dwebble as well. They've been forced back into the central area as Guerrilla Tactics dominate this bottom lane. Danny's still looking for that Evo onto Raichu. Definitely will alleviate the pressure down here, but having Piloswine online already, Guerrilla Tactics means business here, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, there's some very crucial evolutions I think that needs to happen on both sides, like the Gibble. Right now we've got a chase going on from Tibby and supported by Jean-Mi as well, but they do decide not to go in for that chase and to chase that Charmeleon back into the jungle. But we have a Piloswine in the jungle at the moment, Tano.
I love it. I love it. Take what you can. Take the advantage whilst you've got it. Look at the amount of Pokemon they're having to use to deal with this Piloswine, as they haven't been KO'd yet. They are managing to dive onto the side of the Dwebble here. They finally get the KO, but the Regidrago is about to come on in, and stacks have gone onto the side of Guerrilla Tactics after all that.
But you see, the tactic that actually occurred here is we've got a delayed farm being taken by Charmeleon now because of all the time that Mamoswine brought to the team. And look at that, Regidrago is going to the side of Blaziken, who used that time to farm through his jungle faster than Charmeleon did.
Crazy that they've managed to get all of that experience from not only the central area of Los Duros, but also the Regidrago as they look to dive on in now. Oscar trying to see if they can deal with No Way, but the difficulty is they're not on that Garchomp just yet, so Gabite goes back to the Pokemon Center. Charmeleon, as you've mentioned, is still Charmeleon, so right now as the 720s come in, Guerrilla Tactics know this is the lane they have to target if you can limit that Charizard.
That was an amazing collection of Altarias. Like, it happened within a second, just because of the overheat being charged pre-720.
Yeah, it's so easy to clean it all up. Guerrilla Tactics are really aggressive here. Los Duros, they are definitely a more late-game comp, as we see Charizard, we see Garchomp, so that is going to be where Guerrilla Tactics have to be wary. They want to try and get themselves a massive lead as much as they can. It is going to be a great secure yet again on the Blaziken. We call it God of Secure for a reason, chat.
Yeah, and you know what? This is exactly what teams that are looking to go to Worlds need to be able to do mechanically. What we just spoke about and what we're seeing right now, this is an absolute must for teams that are looking to vie to become champions of Europe or even champions of the world.
Oh, 100%. Gmadoo is very close to getting that level 9. Plenty of nearly level 9s on the side of Guerrilla Tactics. Actually, as we have a look at the levels here, buddy, they've already got the Unite move on the side of Lucario, and we see that so much more now in regards to this new map. Aura Cannon is going to be used to lock in the Registeel. That's the power of the new Fire Sky Ruins. There's no way he's trying to get away from the range of Tibby. They do, but unfortunately, the Gabite goes back to the Pokemon Center.
That is 2 for 2 when it comes to steals, right?
Oh yeah, 2 for 2 for Guerrilla Tactics. So much secure on their side, but an Aura Cannon secure is a little bit ridiculous. Here we go, though. This is the power of Danny. Thunderstorm Aerial's going to go on down, and they have just single-handedly defended that pad. The rest of the team is here to chase them down as well. Seismic Slam is going to be used. Double KO comes out for Los Duros, and this could begin to flip the game on its head, but can they break through the all-rounder front line here, buddy?
Unfortunate miss there from the Blaziken eject button, but it is a very good pushback. Jomi does the Unite, and we should be seeing some cavalry coming through right now just to defend the pad against Los Duros.
Good roll call coming out from Gmadoo there. That has been a great defense, and I love the fact that Relly will constantly try to chase down these KOs despite the fact that they're half health. Now they're going to go back to that home pad, try and see if they can catch Louise in here, and that's going to be taken by Tibby. You are in a bad situation in the positioning that they had, so you're just going to try and take what you can there.
Yeah, and then once again, you can see it on the left-hand side. There's so much farm for the jungle on Los Duros. But I think both teams defended their top lane very, very well. But you see there's an advantage with Guerrilla Tactics at the moment as we vie up for the bottom Regieleki fight.
Now Oscar on the field as the Garchomp. This could be getting pretty dangerous for Guerrilla Tactics, but they need the team around them. Diving on here to Hunter. They do manage to take them down. That Rebel Rouser was massive from No Way. Now they've got to try and stop Tibby! But can you stop Tibby with secures like that? They come on through, take the Regieleki. They're quite happy to go back to the Pokemon Center, buddy, because they are limiting what Los Duros can do here. Oscar's going to find some big KOs, nearly getting themselves a Quadra, but without an objective to show for it.
Matt, can I just say that's 3-3? Can I just note this down somewhere? Like, you know, should we put that on the website? This is like a whole record or data that we should have, which is how many times can you secure and steal?
Yeah, I think that would be a great piece of data, buddy, after the analysis on these games. Oscar as well, to be fair, has managed to stay here and not only find that pretty much Quadra, but find even more for it as well. They are going to use the Seismic Slam on the side of Louisin to get some KOs. Oscar fighting by themselves for a while here. The team has now come to back them up. Tibby trying to see if they can get away, but unfortunately unable to do so. Gmadoo has to do roll call yet again to defend this pad.
See, this is what I find really interesting, the way that these players are using their Unites, and it's 2 for 2 when it comes to Jean-Mi using it in a defensive maneuver with his Hooper Unite.
That was a shame, though. They did have Charikin locking in with that Eon Blast, and that was so weak on the Regidrago, but they weren't able to get a basic onto it, and Louisian just comes in, spits a bit of flame that way, and they get all of that experience. They've now hit level 13 on that Charizard that they were really trying to limit, but Blaziken, to be fair, has just hit level 14 for Guerrilla Tactics.
That is a scary thought. Like, what do you think if you're playing against a Charizard that is already... sorry, even a Blaziken that's already level 14. And even Charizard, we've got about a minute left, just under a minute left, and I think it's heading in the same direction. Those are very powerful all-rounders that are being set up here for the final fight.
I find Blaziken to be such a scary threat. Like, I play speedsters, but I hate going up against Blaziken. And at level 14, I'm not looking good coming into that fight. You know you have to shut down that Pokemon. That is where Seismic Slam needs to go. You need the rest of your team around you as well to back up that damage, because you've seen the escapability as they managed to take down No Way here 20 seconds before Groudon is on the field. And look at the stacks that they've got on that Laddie Blue Buddy. So many Draco Meteors coming down.
Look, we've got 10 seconds before the Ray fight, and this has already been aggressive, and it looks like Guerrilla Tactics are going to be trying to keep the opponents at bay. We've got Regieleki, though. It's being served at the bottom lane.
Yeah, it's going to put some pressure onto that T2. They're already in the lead of Guerrilla Tactics, Los Duros. They know, realistically, you're not going to defend that. You kind of need to go for the fight right now or go for the rip on Groudon. You have Oscitar. You've got a Garchomp. You have Rip up your sleeves. You've got to do something. Commit right now, because we're going to see Tibby coming in from the flank. Massive Draco Meteor comes down as well from Louisiana, trying to see if they can find that KO. Not just yet, but they are really managing to limit. No Way. Rebel Rouser's going to come on out. But now they're just going to take a little bit of space, buddy. They don't have the ranged attack just yet that they do on the side of Guerrilla Tactics. Of course, Danny, he's going to be caught out here as well, and that's going to be it. Seismic Slam's going to come on through, but it's the power of this Lati Blue. Oscitar with the Livid Outrage trying to see if they can find the KOs, but they've been absolutely cleaned up, not only by Blaziken, but by the Meteors rained down on them from Chariking.
What an amazing finish. This is literally a consistent performance this time around, and this is what I'm talking about with Guerrilla Tactics. They've played maneuvers and they've done certain aspects of this game in a way that I would expect that to be a very high level standard. I just hope that this continues to kind of measure out their consistency now.
Yeah, I think this game came down... I mean, in the final stages, that was all Chariking in that central area, but when it came down to that Groudon fight, that was all the power of these stacks that they've managed to get. And the reason they've managed to get them, though, is because of these all-rounders being so difficult to handle. They already have so much presence in the early stages because of how Paloma Hunter managed to get that early Evo and put some pressure onto Los Duros, and then they just could not break through the line that was Tibby and, of course, the Blaziken.
You know, one thing I noticed, Tano, that I'm just looking at, I'm just like, wow, this actually makes a big difference, is the bushes that are no longer there anymore at the refight or at the Groudon fight.
Yeah, and I've noticed since like this new map, it's just a lot more aggression from these teams, and I think it's because you are limited on the sort of ambush and setups that you can do because of those bush changes, mate. It's pretty interesting.
Look, Tano, we've casted for about 10 minutes now. That is... one opportunity. I just felt so amazed just by talking about these things on live, on stream, and I'm so appreciative for the teams that are participating, for the players, and for even the spectators joining in. We're going to take a look at this data screen before I get Lobo back in here as well.
Mate, it's honestly a blast to have you on. I know everything, all the effort that you put into INGAGE GG behind the scenes and all of this coming together, thanks to you. So it's awesome to be on the mic with you, to be honest, mate. And you get to see these players firsthand in a game. It's very exciting stuff as we have a look at those stats. And yeah, it was Guerrilla Tactics all the way through this game.
Yeah, that is a tactical maneuver. They were very, very well prepared, and they must have done their research. And I don't know, maybe some of the data from the website is helping with preparing for these matches as well.
Rally with 110k damage out for the team there. Albert Noah, though, crazy recovery on their side. And good effort from Los Duros. Danny, of course, 35% of the team damage. It was there. It just, unfortunately, they couldn't get ahead of that early Evo that Paloma Hunter managed to find and that pressure that they put on to Los Duros. So that is going to be a 2-0 to Guerrilla Tactics so far. And they're on match point already, bro.
Yeah, they're ready to go. We might be in for a clean sweep. But when was the last time we've had a 3-0 sweep, Tano?
Oh,
Can you
bro,
remember?
I can't remember, mate. Every time, every week, it has been game 4s at a minimum here in the Unite Fight Club.
That's what we like to see. Look, there is still hope for Los Duros. They can swing it back around, and that could make the most entertaining set that we've had all week.
Without a doubt, I mean, reverse sweeps, very hard to do, but Los Duros are such a solid team. They have really strong players, mate. They just have to find the right combo, the right synergy that they're looking for. And the more they play, the more they find it. They've already done some impressive stuff in other tournaments here in the EU scene, so they're definitely going to find their own little way of being able to fight out in the Unite Fight Club.
Awesome. I definitely think so. I just want to see how they maneuver around this, because I actually want to know, coming from an outside perspective, how do you get yourself out of this situation? How do you counter some of these threats and strategies that are being played out by Guerrilla Tactics? And what is going on with the communication? What are they saying to each other at this point? That is something that I've always been interested in finding out. And maybe after this, we'll do that.
Yeah, it'd be good to have those kind of behind the scenes of how Los Duros are thinking about this kind of stuff, mate. It's not easy, and I do think most of it is mentality, especially when you're going down 2-0 in a best of 5. It's got to be that mentality. You've got to have that drive and that aggression to come back and be like, we are going to win this game. This is how we do it. Stick to the plan, and let's try and lock in. Because Guerrilla Tactics, you know the confidence that they're currently going to have. They've built a massive amount of momentum on 2 wins there.
Yeah, and before we go into the break, I just want to say as well, we are going into a actual break for the UFC this upcoming week with no streams, but
all right, let's head to a break so that we can get Lobo properly set up. I know that we see him coming onto the screens. Let's head to a quick break and get Lobo ready to go, and then we will do the next set, guys. Hello, everybody. I've got my OG Lobo on the screen, although apparently still called Zenith. There we go. Lobo on the screen. How are you doing, matey?
Oh, mate, it was bound to happen, and I'll be honest with you, because I can't lie. If I'm lying, I'm dying. But the old time zones finally got the better of ya boy. And he had a little bit of a sleep in. But I'm here. I'm here, and I'm ready to go. So my apologies to you, my beloved casting buddy. But you guys got to hear the wonderful voice of our founder and leader, big man Zenith. He does his best when he's on the mic here. But I'm here now, so we can get these games off to rumbling or rolling. But tell me, Tana, I think I saw Guerrilla Tactics up 2-0, so I'm very excited to get to this game number 3.
That you did, buddy, and it's been quite close, to be fair. Los Duros have, I mean, the second game, it was Guerrilla Tactics all the way, but a close one. They did manage to try and keep it close until the final few moments. I love these teams, bro. I mean, Guerrilla Tactics, fan favorites because of the amount of players that are on there that people just love. G Madu is there, Chari King is there, Tibby is there, and then, of course, Los Duros, I think, have been getting better and better every time that they play, but this isn't the best that we've seen of Los Duros tonight.
No, I agree with you. We've seen them play in other tournaments. We've seen them play many, many times, and we have seen them perform on a level that we know that they can do. But this is the UFC, and obviously we can see these players right now. So, you know what? We actually, we had a lot of fun the other night just talking absolutely raging about Danny, and they will definitely come good for Los Duros soon. But check out these bands, buddy. Gyarados, Hooper, Leafeon, Venusaur, Suicune, and Raichu. Not giving Danny access to that Raichu. However, they did play in that previous game. They've banned it out. They don't want to play it against them.
The tactics from Los Duros, bro. They've played Venusaur, they've played Raichu. They're going to continue to ban those two out. So Guerrilla Tactics have to dive a little bit deeper for their ranged attacker here, although they're going to be very comfortable. It's Chari King that is Guerrilla Tactics ranged attacker.
You are right, but also Jumma picking up that Eldegoss first spot. I think that's the first time I've seen Eldegoss go in first spot. Albanoa's going to go on the ever reliable our Koremi. No way going to pick up the big thick boy Snorlax. Relly is going to pick up with their ever reliable speedster with the Zoroark. However, they've already chosen their support as double support. We might not see that ever dreaded Zoroark combination, but Danny hovering a mythical type Pokemon.
I like it. Try and limit what Chari King can bring out even more. They've already used the Latios, buddy, so they're not going to have access to that. Oscar brings out the Mimikyu. When you see a Zoroark on the other side, one of the Pokemon you have to be thinking about is that Mimikyu, mate.
No, I agree with you, and you know me, I love seeing any type of Mimikyu that we see, and Mimikyu has been playing really well, even though people have been suggesting that it is kind of nerfed on this new map with the removed grass patches, with the landscaping that's been done on their Sky Ruins. They said it affected Mimikyu. I disagree. However, Chari King is also going to pick up that Dodrio. Double speeds is coming out from the side of Guerrilla Tactics. Los Duros have to be very careful here with what Louisian decides to pick. They're going to pick possibly, and what I'm going to think, just looking at those items that Louisian is running, that is going to be a Scyther.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if it's Scizor. I feel like nobody plays Scizor anymore. I think, understandably, I think currently in this meta, with the amount of speedsters that you see, especially ones that can get so fed so early on, like, you know, this Zoroark, the Dodrios, they have found even more success than they already had on this new map because of how much more experience is here on the new map. So I do suspect it to be Cypher, and what a job Louisian is going to have here, Lobo, because you've got two difficult to catch speedsters that you have to get in that dual wing beat.
I think Louisian's job is to just duel it out there with Tibby at the most point. You have to be able to also take down their hypers. There's still a lot of brawl going on the side of of Guerrilla Tactics as well. They are looking to surprise. They're looking to ambush. They're also looking to keep that Zorak alive. Now, we don't usually see Zoraks without their classic and absolutely tactless floral necklace, because we all hate the Zorak Comfey combination. However, you cannot deny its effectiveness. But being able to see a Zorak go solo, especially in a competitive scene, is always something that is exciting to see, because Zorak is a very high skilled Pokemon, and usually we do see that nice slash moveset come out from Zorak. I wonder if we're going to see the big old X's being thrown out, or we see the two slashing Pokemon head into that central area, buddy.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty exciting. We've got a Mew in the top lane here. Usually we see it down bottom. Danny's going to take that approach, trying to see if they can limit Oscitar up, their all-rounder up in that top lane. Lofturo's down here, though, Mimikyu, and that is not going to be easy for them to handle, as Oscitar puts pressure on Cherry King already.
I actually really like this kind of strategy coming out from Los Duras. It is hard to stack up against a Buzzwole and an Eldegoss in that top lane. So Mimikyu trying to get their own stacks, because we did see them wear that attack weight. But look at this here. Mimikyu's going to get caught out. Unfortunate. Got about 2 stacks in there before they got taken down by the double-headed bird.
Now we've got Zorak coming into the lane here, though. Ooh, good backup there from Louisian. They recognized they were going to come on in, and if they committed rather than retreating, I think they may have been KO'd. So smart, like being able to see when that Zorak is coming into your lane. That just shows how good these players are, mate.
Yeah, look, we got these Militaris going. Zorak's just going to clean up all of that. The dual wing beat's not going to help from the side. The Electro Ball is going to target the Zorak, damage him down. However, we've got 22-6 Guerrilla Tactics getting those scores in early, even though they wanted to try and stop Buzzstorm from scoring. It's a very, very tall order when you've got it combined with that Eldegoss. Dodrio is online and going to do Dodrio things, run around that map and make themselves an absolute nuisance. But I do believe we have a Brawler Mimikyu on our hands. That's 17 going in unabated by the Trevenant.
Oh, they tried to stop them as well, but now they've hit level 5 on Oscitar. Going to be even harder to handle this Mimikyu now, especially with Albanoa being there, giving them that decorate. We've got Regidrago about to spawn on into the field here, trying to make an approach. Is Los Duros, but Reli's going to try and shut them down. Danny comes through with the beam, but they're not there to secure it just yet. Trying to come in is Louisian, but not even a chance to sniff at it, Lobo, as that gets taken.
You gotta be very careful about where you decide to go into these fights. Mimikyu deciding that probably stacks are better right now. We are seeing player off come out as well. So the higher your player off stacks are, the more damage you're gonna be able to do with those iframe kind of movements, especially with that Zorak and Dodrio on board. That ability to just kite and not take damage whilst you're putting out damage gonna be super important. However, this is where we're seeing on the new map now, Tano, is that once one team decides to push one side, the other team's best bet is to push the other side. 18 seconds till we see if choices were made. We're usually starting to see priority coming towards the side of where Regieleki usually forms, because it has a chance to walk into home base more often than not. Is that a flail lax that I'm seeing?
Would not surprise me, buddy. We were having a look at the damage dealt stats before we came into these games, and out of all people, it's Jurare that's in the #1 spot by quite a considerable amount, and that's going to be because of how much they play that Snorlax and Trevenant. So Flail-Lax is coming out here into this set, and we're going to see a little bit more of it, I suspect. But Guerrilla Tactics are going to take the Regieleki, walks into the T2 pad as well, as it's left on 50, Lobo.
I mean, they've traded a Registeel in that top path for a Regieleki into that bottom path. It's walked in, but no members of Guerrilla Tactics are around to actually help out. There comes the Green Illusion dive coming out from the side. The Zorak is here, but it's going to get stopped by the play with me. Mimikyu's going to jump over that wall, exactly what it needs to do. Avoids the Zorak combination and the Nightfall Days with the player up with just enough time to reset. And the Magician Mimikyu with those Shadow Sneaks is doing a fantastic job. But even all those KOs coming through, they're gonna get caught out here, because as good as Mimikyu is, if you have no farm to tack onto or anything else to help you escape, you're a sitting duck.
I feel like that was a moment of brilliance from Oscar. Yes, they're going to get taken down, but we saw not only them manage to shut down Zorak before they could get off the boosted and find a KO with that play with me, buddy, but then sneaks back and gets the revenge on them, KOing them, and then uses some ankle breaking to dodge the try attack from Dodrio, not being able to get a hit on them. That was a brilliant clip. Right now, Guerrilla Tactics are going to see if they can poke a little bit more damage onto the side of Los Duros as they come into the central area. Triple Trample's going to come on through, and Louisian goes back to the Pokemon Center. It's left with Snorlax and Danny trying to defend this pad right now. Not easy to do against the Dodrio.
I mean, you got to be careful here. That's why block is such a good, effective move there. Alcremi's going to hold off Zorak. Unfortunately, that little basic attack was not enough. Dodrio is here. This is why I'm thinking they're running that flail build, Tana, because the lower health that Snorlax is, the more damage it is going to do with that flail. But there's the play with me going to come out as well. Dodrio is going to try and hit the try attack. There goes, oh my god, the Magicianess coming out from Oscar once again into the Super Swole Slam. Takes down the big bug. Mimikyu does pay for it, has to come out. Alcremi is just being targeted by this Buzzwole, and Guerrilla Tactics are comfortably in the lead with the Mystical Mirage being popped to try and keep Danny away from this bug, and it's going to get its own back because that's an HP and Dream Buzzwole running from a Mew.
How is Buzzwole going to get out of there? But his Cherry King's pretty low as well. And they do, in fact, they walk them into the arms of Zoroark and they find the KO on Danny. That is a shame. Los Duros, they're really bouncing back in this game, but they just can't seem to get over that final last hump. We've got some brilliant moves from these players individually as we say goodbye to Mimikyu yet again. But as a squad, they are struggling in these team fights, buddy, and they're going to have to look at reviewing that after this VOD. Ready Drago is going to rotate into the top side, but again, they don't have their team here. They're split up trying to grab their own experience, and it's going to allow Guerrilla Tactics to get every objective here.
I mean, it's just the way that the game plays out right now. We're seeing Guerrilla Tactics be supported by one or two players at all times. Mimikyu is getting caught out. Scyther needs to be very careful here. Does manage to get a quick dual wing beat on to the Regieleki to make sure that they secure that. However, the rest of Guerrilla Tactics are not too far away. On the top side, a Reg Ice was secured by Los Duros. 3 minutes 18 on the clock. Dodrio is just having a ball. Danny needs a little bit more protection because as effective as Mew can be, once it gets caught out, it can be locked down very quickly. Play rough is going to avoid the Horn Leech, but stuck between all 5 members of Guerrilla Tactics was Oscar.
We've got a minute left on the clock before Groudon is on the field, buddy. There is still a close game realistically as we get to the final stretch. There's about 169 points between these two right now, I believe. I'm not very good at the quick maths, but it does mean that Los Duros are still in this. But the thing that I'm so scared about is how many levels Guerrilla Tactics has over them. We've just seen level 14 hit on Dodrio and now Zoroark, whereas Los Duros, they've only just got level 13 on their Mimikyu.
I mean, 3 level 13s against 2 level 14s and a level 13 Buzzwole is something that you don't really want to see. However, these are the kind of levels that we are seeing in these competitive matches right now because we talk about it. We talk about it all the time. The levels of experience that are coming up. But this is why Flail Axe is such a good idea into that block. The lower HP that Snorlax has, the more damage it's going to do. Looking for that booster, but Snorlax is going to be taken out instantly as soon as Groudon decides to make its appearance. That block was able to sustain, but Mimikyu already low. Gonna go into the playoff to try and take out the Dodrio, but no! The Shadow Sneak pop was just too early, and Guerrilla Tactics, they might want to put the pressure on right now, but they know they're almost 200 points to the lead. They're looking to rip, but I think they're just gonna tickle this Groudon and lure Los Duros in.
Oh, Green Illusion Dive went out as well, but Dodrio cleans them up before they can do anything else with it, and Zoroark does the rest to Los Duros. Guerrilla Tactics have been dominant throughout this set right now. Los Duros, they were just on the edge of being able to catch up in multiple games here, but it's these team fights that they have lacked in at the moment. Oscar, all they can do is run away whilst they do get the pressure put onto them by this Buzzwole. Tibby's not going to let them be free as the rip on the ground. battleground comes through. Oscar was looking for it with the Shadow Sneak, doesn't find it. Relly is going to lock it in. And Guerrilla Tactics, with 50 seconds left in this game, are going to try and sprint and score some points here, Lobo.
I mean, this is still the good thing about Ground is that you can get interrupted right now. You don't want to make sure that you don't give your buffs back. Jean Maduro is just going to try and get that 50 in with a little bit of help from Palomar, which is going to be great. That's exactly what Hornleech does. Unfortunately, though, those ground buffs are still very strong and so capable of being that extra attack boost is just very, very strong into that early game. I love the fact that scoring can be interrupted now. However, if you got two people standing on that base, those scores are going to go in very, very quickly.
So it looks like for what's probably the first time in Unite Fight Club that isn't the open qualifiers, mate, we're going to have a 3-0 in a best-of-5 set as Guerrilla Tactics takes this one with all 3 games. It definitely felt like Los Duros was close in a couple of those, but I mean, first game, it could have gone any way. It was just the fact that they had a much better fight at Groudon, did Guerrilla Tactics, and they're going to take all 3 games here, mate.
I know that I'm still, a little bit sleepy, a little bit dazed in my head, but I believe the very first Unite Fight Club we did, we had a best of 5 go all the way. That set went for 2 hours, and then we had the reverse where the 3 got done straight away. But it's the first time in a while. You're right, Tano. It's the first time in a long time that we've actually had a 3-0 with Cherry King putting up 14 KOs and 92k damage. And again, Guerrilla Tactics playing very well. Relly, John Maduro, Cherry King, Paloma, Hunter, and Tibby. We've seen these guys play week in, week out. They are very comfortable with this Fearless draft format. Los Duros still finding a few teething issues. However, when they do get on their game, like we saw, I think, earlier in the week and last week, that combination of Louise and Danny and Oscar is very, very difficult to deal with. And you can tell they know what attackers that they want to deal with. I just don't know if Mew was that effective up against 2 speedsters. I wasn't here for the previous game, so I don't know if they had access to Venusaur. I know that they banned out Raichu, however, they did use it in game number 2. But that damage and just allowing those speedsters to really run free as much as they were able to was something that Los Duros needed to deal with, especially in that draft.
Yeah, they didn't have enough counter to deal with it, buddy. And I mean, they actually used Venusaur in the first game, which is probably why they were continuing to ban it out. But even what's weird is that Los Duros, usually they get a really good front line for Danny to be able to just drop damage from the back lines. In the first game, they didn't do that. The comp they had wasn't very frontline heavy like you're used to. And at that Groudon fight, Cherry King just managed to hunt down Danny with the Delphox. Here in this game, they don't have access to those 2 Pokemon, so the Mew comes out to play. But the difficulty is you've got double speedsters on the side of Guerrilla Tactics, double speedsters that get power spikes easy as well, Lobo. That's the important thing. You've got Dodrio that gets that Evo straight away. You've got Zoroark that goes in the central area and then already comes into the lane as one of the best gankers in the game. So it's one of those where it was all the early game that Guerrilla Tactics managed to lock in with, and they just couldn't do enough to defend against those speedsters.
Look, and it's interesting here because we saw it on the highlights there. We did point it out. It was a flail Snorlax, not something that we're used to seeing. However, when we were in that speedster meta, we did see flail come to the forefront because, again, speedsters were so good at damaging you down, getting you low. So Snorlax was left at a low HP. I want to say majority of the time. So I could see the idea where flail would want to come in, but that for me, I mean, even though Snorlax had block, we still want to talk about the protection for Danny there because, again, Solar Beam is good, Electro Ball is good, Surf is good, but you need to give Mew that space. And every time we've seen Danny have that space to just do what they need to do, they're able to pop off on any of those old attackers. But let's not take away Oscar's absolutely standout performance on that Mimikyu as well. Breaking ankles, appearing where they shouldn't appear, and using Shadow Sneak to probably some of the best effectiveness that I've seen Shadow Sneak used on Theos Sky Rumors or just in general. Also being able to use those iframes to counter Zoroark and Dodrio's tri-attack and Night Slash as it was. Unfortunately, just getting caught out just a little bit too much. Again, wanted to see a little bit more support coming from the side of Los Duros to kind of support each other in those very much instances because Oscar is a Mimikyu, right? It was level 13. So when that Mimikyu's getting KO'd, it's just given that experience that is already abundant on Thea Skywarren's right back to Guerrilla Tactics.
Absolutely, buddy. We are going to take a quick break, chat. You know what you can do in the break is hop on over to the INGAGE GG Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it, and have a look at the recent giveaway. Empoleon is coming in to Pokemon Unite in 1 day's time. If you want to get your hands onto a lovely Unite license, go on over to that post, repost it, get yourself in the Discord for INGAGE GG, and you could be in a chance of getting that exciting license. We're going to take a quick break, grab yourself a drink and a snack. Whilst you do that on Twitter, we'll be back with you very shortly. Welcome back, trainers. We've got the exciting matchup everybody is hoping for, and I've seen it in chat. MTZ Esports has said they are going to play Tinkerton for supports. I'm holding them to that, Lobo.
I mean, I can't wait to see it. I do believe it was MTZ. I keep saying TMZ. I believe it was MTZ that decided to show us Tinkerton for the first time as well. I think on previously on, well, it was Tuesday morning for me, but Monday night for you. So I'm excited to see it. And seeing these teams play anything new is always exciting in Pokemon Unite. I just have Unite DB open up very quickly right now. So if we look across the top row of Unite DB, we've got 3, 6, 9, and 10. And then if you go down the list, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 70 Pokemon right now, plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 78 Pokemon right now just on the Unite DB roster of Pokemon. That's not including the 2 Urshifus, so that's 79. That is well, the Mega Mewtwo's have been split up, and that is also Scizor and Scythe that have been split up. So 78 Pokemon that are playable for Pokemon Unite. However, that is going to be 79 as we've got Empoleon joining the fray, I believe, very soon. Well, actually, no. I think it's now, isn't it? Has it been fully released? But you can get your own Empoleon on the Nice. Let's go check out the giveaway that Engage is doing over on Twitter and X, as my lovely co-caster did mention. We've got Haru Knight, MDR, Gaddy, and Amara on MTZ Esports. On the side of Arigato, we've got Mizu, Starzerg, Zaki, Aqua, and Osu. These bans looking quite interesting, buddy.
That they are. The Slowbro ban is what I find very intriguing here by MTZ Esports, because we don't see Slowbro used unless you have a certain Pokemon or a certain style of Pokemon that you play in the game, mate. So let's see what MTZ Esports are going to do to ban out that Slowbro.
I mean, you know, we talk about it. It is Charizard that gets a ban. Well, not really gets banned. It is that Charizard that gets slow beamed down to all high heaven. Haru's going to pick up Umbreon, which is a nice first pick. But this is a Pokemon that I thought we were going to see Mega Mewtwo X. I'm still shaking off the sleepy cobwebs in my brain, but Stars are going to pick up the big beefy bug. Zaki going to support that bug, I think, in that top side. However, Gaddy and Knight, we've got a supporter, we've got a defender. Are they going to do what they said they were going to do? Knight's going to pick up a Mew. Sorry, going to be swapped. MDR's actually going to pick up Mew, but Boswell is looking very good in this current meta right now. It is such a strong top laner.
The fact that Gaddy's picked up the Comfey, but they haven't picked up what they're going to use that Pokemon with yet, is so interesting, mate. Maybe you're trying to see what Arigato come back out with themselves for you to finally make that decision. Is it going to be an all-rounder, or will it be the speedster you expect it to be? Please give us Pawmot. We don't see this Pokemon at all. People don't feel like it's that strong. We only had Niat play it on Mia Familiar before, but now Amara, the player that people love their Tinkerton for. No, we get baited. Mimikyu is coming out to play instead.
I'm actually really excited to see Amara on that Mimikyu. I love seeing Mimikyu get played. I think it's still a very, very strong option, but there Mizu is going to pick up the Charizard. Funny enough, it was MTZ that decided to ban out the Slowbro, but the Play Rough, sorry, not the Play Rough, the Play With Me has the ability to lock down that Charizard Unite move very, very cleanly and ensure that it doesn't do that much damage. Now, I just want to point this out. Starzerg, if you're playing the double smack build, the double suplex build, if you will, does have the ability to pull Charizard out of its Unite move as well. Unfortunately, they're on the same team. And as of yet, Pokemon Unite have not allowed for friendly fire, which would be insane in this game, considering the amount of crowd control that we have. However, Aqua and Osu are bringing up a really strong combination that we're seeing right now. It's that Mamoswine into that Raichu, buddy.
Yeah, it's such a great combo, buddy. You've got the CC chain that is Mamoswine, and then the Electro Ball grenades from Aqua on the Raichu. Great combo. And you talk about friendly fight. We know it can happen because Pawmot, when it first dropped into the game, was actually damaging its own teammates with a bug. So it's definitely something that can happen. And Imagine a hardcore Pokemon Unite game mode where you just play this, but you can actually KO your own teammates. That would be so toxic, mate.
I mean, that's incredible. However, I just wanted to point out, because, you know, sometimes people might not like us using the word a grenade. So for the foreseeable future, I'm going to use projectile for our younger class views. So we want to see how well Raichu is going to use those electric ball projectiles across this map. We've got Eevee heading into the central area, as well as Charizard. You know, we want to expect to see a Charizard inside that central lane because it is a two-stage evolution. Inside that bottom part, this is what Swineup is really good for. The tackle into the eject is still going to get the KO on Mew, and Umbreon's also going to get felled as well. The damage coming out from Arigato straight away, Tano. That's suppressive from their side.
That really is, mate. That's not what you want to see if you're MTZ, and neither does the chat. We've got so many supporters of this team in there, but Arigato, they're not going to take it lying down as they do find the KOs. Starzerg takes that one away as they look for this level 5. Knight is here, though. The Razor Leaf doesn't get the secure they're looking for. It's going to take it by Amara, but now Arigato, they get the team rotating up as Ozu's here as well. They look to see if they can push this pad, trying to find a KO. Not able to do so, so they have to go on the retreat here, Lobo.
Mimikyu still doesn't have access to that level 5, neither does that Buzzwole, but they've got their entire teams except for the Eevee and the Raichu down. Electro Ball's going to try and get an execute, but the ice shots coming out from Swino are just going to be able to push them away. Those middle Altares have gone before we could even notice, because that team fight was a 4v4 situation. Now we've got the Raichu inside the central lane. That's a problem even for Umbreon with the amount of bulk that it has, buddy. These teams have just backed their way off, and look at what's going on inside MTZ's Esports' central lane. There's a Mimikyu and a Mew. Want to gain back those levels they might have forfeited in that top side.
Trying to see if they can find Haru here, but they're not going to be able to just yet. The Electro Ball lands. Mean Look is the move of choice, and Aqua gets locked out from finding that KO. Haru comes right back in, trying to cause this disruption onto Ozu. They're thrown into the Mean Look as well. Ice Fang for revenge, but the coaching saves them as MDR does what needs to be done to keep their defender on the Fire Sky Ruins.
That's the second time that they've come in clutch with that coaching. I believe it's going to be Shadow Claw Mimikyu that's going to brawl it out with the Buzzwole. It's still going to be left alive. Leafeon's going to come in, help assist with that KO, and Hooper can only watch as the big beefy bug goes back to home base to get some more protein to fuel those muscles. Mean Look is a great choice here, Tana, because not only can it lock down Raichu from moving around with all of the dashes that it has, but it can also lock down Charizard in the middle of its Unite move, so it can't actually spread that fire around. Now heading to that top side, Arigato going to take most of those Militaris with the power of muscles and flames, but Mimikyu waits to hold to that Shadow Sneak to pick up a nice KO with the assistance of Leafeon and Comfey.
What a way to bounce back, bro. And now they're finally going to score these points, leaving this top goal on 10. Grab the experience that you can before you break it as well, as we do see them looking for more stacks on the Leafeon. Arigato have now lost that point lead. They're trying to go for the rip here on the Regirock and at least continue with the level lead, but MTZ Esports have caught right back up, trying to zone them out on the side of this left here while they get the rip on the Regirock. They are going to find it with the Buzzwole, and now they look to push the T1 pad, knowing the MTZ are still in that top lane. They've got the Regieleki here, buddy, that is going to walk into the T2 uncontested. So you have to get what you can here as they look to push the T2 by themselves. Only 30 points that they can rain on in here from Aqua. Big Beam comes through for MDR. Starzerg's ready with another 30 to rain in as well. Throws away the Umbreon so they can do just that and consistently gives themselves a huge point lead at the moment. Emerald two-step though, paired in, comes, takes out the Charizard. Thunderstorm Aerial is going to go down, but right now, Arigato have to retreat. There's too much coming in from MTZ Esports.
I think the defense on that tier 2 was actually prioritized over scoring inside that tier 2 on the opposite side of Arigato. They had to do exactly what they did, and this is what we're seeing on Theia Sky Ruins a lot more often now, is that teams are prioritizing either lane. They're running that RNG gauntlet to see which side they want that Regieleki to appear. Regieleki, again, seems to be the more prominent side, but that defensive buff coming out from the side of Regirock also becoming more prominent as well, Tana, considering how much these fights are breaking out all over Thea Sky Ruins, especially when you have that front line of the Pella Swine. That's exactly what you want. A little bit more defense to keep yourself bulky, but also for your all-rounders that are able to bruise and brawl in there, especially a Mimikyu with a Comfey on its side as it's going to go in. That bulk is exactly what you need for that survivability. Charizard's going to try and fight for its Unite back straight away to get some scores in, but MTZ Esports need to make a decision now because they're falling behind on these scores. Not 100 just yet, but around, I want to say 80 roughly, because they need to find a way to get back into the score, but Charizard is here.
Oh, Emerald Two-Step's going to come through. They do manage to find a KO, though, but again, Seismic Slam is the savior for Arigato. That Leafeon managed to find two of the biggest picks on the side of Arigato, taking the Buzzwole and the Pillar Swine out of that fight. But if it wasn't for Mizu, they'd have absolutely found more, as MTZ Esports are going to have to retreat, and Arigato are going to be able to score more points for their efforts here and grab themselves a Red Jalecki for it, unless Mimikyu has something to say about that. Buddy, Amara's going to have to go back to defend the pad, though. Brilliant effort from Ozu to pull that attention onto themselves and allow that Red Jalecki to be taken.
Ozu did a fantastic job missing that Ice Fang, but does get sent back to the Pokemon. So 4 minutes and no Mamoswine just yet. I believe Mamoswine is still one of the hardest Pokemon to get online with that level 9 evolution. Now Arigato going to do it double. They're going to get both objectives inside as well as another Regirock. So that bulkiness coming out from their side is going to keep getting bulkier as this score lead has extended to 104 points. However, MTZ Esports are still looking quite good in the final stages of this game. They're not falling behind too badly on levels. It seems quite even, except for that level 13 Charizard. Only one level 12, two level 12s now on the side of the Mew and the Leafeon. Mimikyu definitely needs to hit that level 13 as Arigato go, and they're going to engage with a Seismic Slam.
Oh, Play With Me is going to come through onto the Charizard, trying to limit that amount of damage coming out, buddy. They've done a decent job because they didn't find a single KO with it, nor HP damage, as Mizu is going to fall here. It's the Comfey of all Pokemon that gets the final KO. Swole Slam's going to come on through, trying to see if they can put the punishment onto MZZ. They do find the Mimikyu, and the Swole Slam's going to go onto Knight as well, as they try to run away on the Leafeon Razor Leaf, ready to go back on in. Ozu in the middle of this fight reaches out with the Ice Fang, manages to throw Umbreon into the path of Buzzwole, but now they go their separate ways.
I mean, saving the KO on the Leafeon was very key there. That's a level 13 Pokemon that you don't want to lose, especially in this final stretch. Charizard's still level 13, Raichu level 12 as well. There's your main heavy hitters that you want to keep nice and replenished at high levels. 40 seconds to go until Rayquaza starts to form those projectiles again. So all over the map as Raichu just going to plant those down and do as much damage as humanly possible. I don't know if humanly possible is the correct term there, considering we are watching Pokemon duke it out on this there. Skyrim, 22 seconds to go until Groudon appears, and you know what happened when the Groudon appears, the game is on, or some form of nonsense that Tano comes up with that I cannot repeat. Regilecki's going to be taken by MTZ Esports. Game 1 of this best of 5 looking very strong because they're brawling all over, and they might start this Groudon fight early. Regilecki walks in, the big green red monster has appeared, and Hooper has cold roll.
They've gone for the rip, buddy, but unfortunately they've not committed to it. We saw the ping, the rings were let loose, and we saw Aqua there as well, but Amara shuts them down. The rip might not have been the call as they tried to find it, and no, it's going to go to MTZ Esports as Mimikyu sneaks on in, manages to take it. Amara, the power of this player is unbreakable right now, but Arigato, they've managed to get themselves a couple of buffs. The defense from Knight is enough for the Emerald Two-Step. Look at Hooper run, trying to chase them down here as Zaki tries to get out of the way, breaks an ankle. But what MTZ Esports is going to do is just go commit to their own scoring here, buddy, and they need to do exactly that. No, in fact, they're going to try and defend this. That might have been the wrong call.
I mean, they're going to try and take that buff away from Hooper, which they do. Mew does get the buff. Comfey has the buff as well. On the other side, Umbreon has locked them down. There's only a Raichu. I was about to say Regilecki. There's only a Raichu on that top pad throwing down these projectiles, hoping and praying that they don't get caught. There's still 206 points between these two as long as Thunderstorm Arrow is going to be used, but Leafeon manages to get the KO. Now we're 106 points away. They need to get a Hundo Burger in somewhere, Tano, but there's the Ultra Swole Slam coming out from the Buzzwole. MTZ Esports have got 30 seconds to do it. They got another 100 in. There's 6 points between them two now. What are we going to see? They need to get some more points in. But Mew, Umbreon, there's 3 members charging towards that tier 2. 23 seconds on the clock.
Oh, there we go. That's going to be the Mimikyu Hundo Burger, buddy. I think it's the Comfey that has the Groudon buff, so it's not even like Leafeon could do anything, buddy. Knight just has to put their body in the way. A massive serve comes out from MDR. They get some more points in, and MTZ Esports are going to win this game from the jaws of defeat. They climb the mountain of victory.
Oh man, that was an incredible end to game number 1. That was game 1 of our next best of 5. What a fight! We did see Amara Shadow Sneak on to Raichu at the very early stages after Hooper called roll in that Groudon fight. And then they managed to take out probably one of the best damage dealers in a Rayquaza fight that you need to get onto. Then came back in to secure that Groudon for the side of MTZ Esports. However, Arigato had a 200-point lead, but there is the combination play that you can do, because if you have 2 members standing on a pad with Groudon, your scoring is not vastly increased, but it is increased nonetheless. And we already know when you have more than one person standing on those pads, your scoring is increased even more. So getting that hundo into that tier 2 on the top side was very, very key. And, you know, Leafeon was there, took out the Raichu, but there was a Mamoswine there. But again, the time between Mamoswine's moves is enough for you to sneak that Hundo Burger in with 2 members sitting on that pad and the Groudon buffs.
I can't wait to see it, because for me, the issue is voice chat for Arigato. Whatever was going on in their voice chat, buddy, you will see it when it comes up. They pinged to go for the rip. They had the Hooper Unite move. We saw the ping coming in before Groudon was on the field. They were going to go for the rip. We had the Alolan Raichu in position. We had Charizard getting into position as well. They pull that Unite move. The whole team is there. They start to rip. But then what happens is Aqua goes the right-hand side of the Groudon den. The rest of the team makes an approach onto MTZ Esports, and then Knight just gets round and handles Aqua, sends them packing. So whatever was going on in that VC, there wasn't enough communication, and there wasn't commitment for the rip. If you're not going to rip it, you've got to communicate clearly. We're baiting them here. We're going to start hitting it. The team's going to come in, and we're going to all attack them. Because Aqua did not do that. They were sat there for a couple of seconds, and Knight just gets onto them with no help around them, mate. So,
I'm curious to see what happens here, because there was a lot of interesting moments at that Groudon pit, but it feels like you're right. What happened was that one team had a little bit more cohesion, as we see right now. Mimikyu comes in alongside that Floralfalza healing. The Charizard Unite move does come down, and this was a game of cat and mouse, but we just missed it. The breaking of the ankles by Hooper was insane. They had 3 members chasing them down. They had the smoke behind them like it was a Looney Tunes cartoon, and then whoop, through the rabbit hole they go, and managed to give themselves another 100-point lead as well. So again, it was a really, really good performance, all said and done, by Arigato. They were in the lead by over 200 points going through, but this comes down to strategy right now. Taking out that Raichu was key. Having not all of your members on the same wavelength going into Groudon is key. That was also key at Rayquaza too, but Rayquaza is now gone. You cannot rip and win. You must be a lot more tactical once those 2 minutes hit the clock, bro.
100%, mate. And, you know, this is what the Unite Fight Club is all about. A team like MTZ Esports, with a lot of players that are new to the competitive scene, have come in and showed how impressive of a squad they are, and the potential that this team has is kind of going through the roof right now, Lobo.
No, I agree with you. They've got they've got that underdog feel to them, Tano. Not that that's a bad thing in any kind of the sense, but these are players. You know, you and I have covered the EU region for the better part of a year and a half, and these are players that you and I are not very used to seeing. We're absolutely ecstatic to see these players come through and give competitive a go, and they're coming out with these creative comps that seem to be working. We haven't really seen MTZ Esports go for the full meta style build that we are seeing a lot of teams in the EU very, very comfortable with, and we know how strong they can be. I would love to see what that kind of team can do in these guys' hands, to see it just a full a meta composition build. But perhaps they don't like that. Maybe that's not how they want to play, and they want to shake it up, because they're shaking it up with an Elder Goss and a Crosser, with Mew and Trevenant coming to the play. Please tell me that's an Electro Drift Ride-On. I want to see an Electro Drift Ride-On.
Imagine, bro. I mean, MDR going for it with the Electro Drift. You never know. You never know, bro. It looks like Arigata are gonna respond with the possibility of the Venusaur here, trying to get their first win under their belt. So, do you go for the double ranged, or do you actually throw the raid boss Venu onto the field? Let's keep an eye on Aqua's held items here. Oh my god, it's Godzilla, Lobo!
We saw this on Tuesday morning for me, Monday afternoon for you. Tyranitar was banned out pretty much every single game that we saw with MTZ Esports. We were praying and begging to see the T-Tar come loose. Amara is not going to disappoint us this time round. That is a very interesting comp coming out from the side of MTZ Esports, because once Godzilla is online, that is a raid boss in itself, especially if you got Gaddy on that support. Having a look at Arigato, the big blue button, as I like to call it, because that is 3 attackers. There is, I mean, which one's the president in this one? Which one is gonna get down when the dirty stuff goes down? Because Mizu's picked up Venusaur with that eject button and the special attack items. I am thinking that's gonna be a heavy Venusaur. We have got the Curse Incense coming up from the side of Glaceon as well, which means that Tyranitar can get shredded down as well. EXP Share Mew coming out from the side of Zaki, but I love the contrast between these two teams right now, Tano.
Yeah, me too, mate. I feel like I don't know whether all this range damage is the right call on the side of Arigato, because the thing is, Amara is there on the Godzilla, mate. As soon as you hit late game, like a raid boss Venu would have been a better shout for me, a pedal dance Venusaur, because the thing is, that Tyranitar is going to be diving onto you. If it's not sprinting, it's diving onto you, and those ranged attackers, they are going to explode under the weight of that Tyranitar, mate.
It also depends as well. If Tyranitar decides to bring that sand out, Glaceon's passive actually is not going to work. You've got Crossel that can disrupt the passive as well, but you've also got Miraidon's Thunder ability that can break that passive coming out from the Glaceon too. So this is going to be an interesting one, Tano. We have not seen a lot of Miraidon. I do believe it is still one of the strongest attackers out there. However, due to its ability, it's only got a good ability to kite when it's using that charge beam. However, if we see Electro Drift, that kiting, I mean, it's probably one of the best kiters out there.
I'm so on board with an Electro Drift, because you're trying to get onto these ranged attackers that, I mean, Arigata's got 3, bro, and you're just trying to dive onto them. I actually think it would be good, but I suspect it'll be Charge Beam, because, of course, there's not really anything that Arigato has that can pair with the amount of range damage other than the Venusaur. So I suspect that's where they go. But I'm wishful thinking with you, bro. Electro Ball's going to come in here from Zaki as they do find all those Natus. Amara has to run. They do use the dash, and they find the KO. Zaki gets the first of the game.
I mean, we've also got stored powered Espeon as well, which is really good for these range attackers as well. We know Espeon does get a little bit of a movement buff when they use that stored power. It's not the best to secure in this game, but it is the best to hunt anybody down. Talking about this Miraidon as well, we got Venusaur with that burst damage that Solar Beam can do. We are seeing Icicle Spears, which is exactly what I expected coming out from Aqua on that Glaceon as well, because it's just able to shred down Pokemon like Crustle. However, we're talking about abilities that can break that Glaceon's passive, where it cannot be stunned and takes a little bit of damage, but cannot be interrupted due to that passive. However, Rock Tomb is definitely one of those moves as well, alongside that shielding coming out from Eldegoss. So a lot of nice counters to Glaceon coming out from the side of MTZ Esports. However, Arigato is pushing this pressure early because MTZ is such a late game comp.
Oh, Haro was wanting to stop that 24 going in, but Aqua causes too many issues. Gets caught behind the Rock Tomb, has to use the eject button right now. Haro's just going to take all of that damage onto their side, so MDR doesn't have to be concerned. But now, Aqua hitting those power spikes, buddy. Those spears are going to be even worse. We try and beam out Espeon here. The Sludge Bomb finds them anyway. Mizu is on the field.
It's just about damage limitation right now for MTZ Esports until their comp can get online, because now we've got a beam, we've got the spears coming through. This is exactly what Arigato wanted. However, we do know that Glaceon tends... What did Mew secure that? Wow, out of absolutely nowhere. We do know that Glaceon does tend to fall off in terms of that damage output ability with the Icicle Spears coming out. They're usually very good against tanky opponents, but there's the Icicle Spears just going to click on to that Espeon. It's going to try and run, has to pop that eject, but the beam is going to assist alongside the Mew as well. And Oregon are going to push this tier 1 on that top side. That's where they're going to make their home base. Let's see if they called a Reggie, or if they've called the brother, that is the Reggie. Like Hydro Spin Blastoise is the move of choice for the water starter.
Yeah, I kind of like that, buddy. Try and chase down the Miraidon here. We still don't know what's in what lane at the moment. We do know Ozu is trying to see if they can grab the Miraidon. Verdant Anger does exactly that as Mizu takes the ranged attacker. Now it's all down to Haru to try and defend this pad. Let them duke it out, buddy, while Arigato goes for the rip. They're going to get the Regieleki here in the bottom side, but MTZ Esports hasn't even started on the top side there, buddy, with the Blastoise being there. So now they're going to try and see if they can approach this T1 pad in the bottom lane, grab some experience with this score as Aqua looks to fall down. Glacial Stage is going to get them out of that position. But the boy, the Godzilla, is now on the field.
I mean, Godzilla being online is massive for that. We want to see the Elder Gods get paired with the Tyranitar as it walks down. The C just absolutely shrugged off that Electro Ball and the Mew boosted auto. Tyranitar's going to take to the skies. It's terrestrialized. It's a fire type. Venusaur gets taken down, as does Trevenant. And this is exactly what MTZ Esports wanted to go. They have got a rampaging Godzilla on the field. Make sure that it does not get clicked by the Glacier, but it does not matter. Tyrannical Rampage is going to come out, and it's going to stop the Hydro Typhoon from a raging tsunami into a spouting little bit of water. That is exactly what Godzilla does.
Oh my god, buddy, that is insane. They were trying to use what they could to survive that, unable to do so. The thing is, though, the rest of MTZ Esports have been wiped out in that moment, so Tita has to back on up to the pad. Amara can't do much else but sit here and wait for their team to get here. They want to go in for this Reggie steal. The beams are going to come on through. You are definitely going to need your team around you, and now they are back as they try to defend this T1 pad. The electric terrain goes down. There's the Glacial Stage as well. Trevenant finds the Miraidon, though, so they're going to back up a little bit more here on the side of MTZ, just waiting for them to get close enough for the Tyranitar to actually have a presence in the fight. But Arigato, they managed to kite them at the moment.
They're doing very well defensively, Arigato. That Horn Leech coming out from the Trevenant is key right now to these victories, but it is a double sand move coming out from the side of Tyranitar, but those also is going to absorb a lot of that damage being popped out by the Icicle Spears. They're keeping Amara alive on this Godzilla. We also saw the Cotton Cloud Crash coming down as well to ensure that Godzilla stayed healthy. But what MTZ Esports really need to do right now, Tana, is fight together as a 5. Move as the death ball, if you will. Make that ball, put Tyranitar in the center of it, protect it as much as you can while it just outrages and does damage to Tokyo all the way across this map.
Trying to go for the 40 dunk. They are there, trying to bait in Arigato to them at the moment, and we do see them ready to rain it on through. Damage is going to come as well. So close to take down Amaran. They do. The Kaiju is sent packing, buddy, and that means MTZ Esports has to go on the retreat. Miraidon's ready to go. Bright Fury Meteorstorm trying to come on down, but they get stunned out of it as Glacial Stage comes through, and Aqua gets a free KO. That's a Quadra. Mum, get the camera. They break the pad. 329 points to 19 on the board.
As excited as we are to see Godzilla on the board, this is a very good comp coming up from the side of Origato. 3 ranged attackers plus a Hydro Spin, Blastos, and your Trevenant to displace their main threat on the side of MTZ Esports. Origato have seen that comp. As soon as they saw that Tyranitar, they knew exactly what they were looking for. Stay at range. Don't let Godzilla stomp all over you. And even that Miraidon has become effectively, I want to say, neutralized as well because of the power and the suppressive power of Glaceon, because that Glaceon's already level 13. So is that Venusaur. But again, Trevenant's doing a fantastic job as a solo defender, keeping itself sustained. It's in the front line up against that Miraidon. That's exactly what it needs. Godzilla can't stop that 40 going in. And this is one heck of a lead that Origato have pulled out to.
That they have. Huge beam comes through onto Hero there, and the difficulty is that even though they're that many points ahead, MTZ Esports, if they have that one good fight at Groudon, buddy, this could be flipped on its head. They just need to find that one important KO into the ranged attacker at Arigato's fight at Groudon. Because, you know, the Glaceon is the thing that is currently ripping down the defenses on this Crustle, on the Tyranitar, but then you've got the big beams that back it up, and that takes, like, what, half of your health between them anyway? So it's going to be a difficult thing to stay at range when you are fighting in that one central pit, that one central area. And that's exactly what Armora is looking for, as Groudon now spawns into the field.
I mean, they've also got another problem to MTZ Esports because they've got that Regieleki walking in as well. There is a 300-point lead, 314-point lead, 315-point lead to be exact right now. Treven's going to hit a nice big Horn Leech onto the cross of the Icicle Spears are going to rain down alongside the Bright Future Meteor Storm. Hydro Typhoon does manage to spell Godzilla. No, a hit Godzilla, stun it back up. Espeon's been taken out. Crossle has been taken out as well. But Tyranitar has popped the Unite, but it gets tailed by the Glacial Stage as the Icicle Spears rain it down onto Eldegoss, and it is all but a team wipe as MDR has to retreat because Miraidon just cannot stand up to the combined pressure of both Blastoise and Glaceon. But now there is a 435-point lead, if my math is correct. Aqua with those icicle shards, those ice shards at level 14. The attack speed is crazy. They build up that damage so quickly. 1 minute left to go. They could still turn this around, could MTZ Esports, but they need to come together, and they need to come together right now.
Gotta be quick on this one. I mean, this is Pokemon Unite 2.0, baby. We know it's not over until that Groudon sings. It's still available to be grabbed here. The push comes through from Ozu as they're looking to defend against it. Amara's going to go into the pit here and try and see if they can find the secure. Aqua's already thrown a lot of spears onto it. This is the only way you can win this, but the difficulty is you're going to give over buffs at the moment. They do find it with Miraidon grabbing it, but can they score enough points? They've got 30 seconds left. All Arigato is going to do is find the KOs onto them, and that is going to be all she wrote, buddy, because whilst they can go score, all Arigato has to do is get these in here after picking up those Groudon buffs.
Yeah, they had to score on return. We did see 2 hundos going in top side, bottom side as well. Blastoise got out very luckily up against Amara on that top side, but Amara's back here to put down the damage. Of Tyranitar with buffs is crazy. Absolutely crazy. We wanted to see it. Unfortunately, Arigato had one good counter. It's been a while since we've seen 3 attackers on the same team. That was a support Mew as well because it was running that EXP share. But Glaceon, the big blue button, as I like to call it. It's also the first time we have seen Glaceon at the Unite Fight Club as well. I still think it's a very underrated Pokemon because everybody hates being clicked on. And they, so it is a very, very annoying Pokemon to deal with. It has such great kite ability once you're in your Icicle Spears, and that Glacial Stage not only increases your attack speed, but your movement speed whilst you're in that little diamond rhombusy looking thing that it sets down on the ground. But 76k damage, almost matching Mizu's 77k damage as the 2 top attackers.
It's such a great answer to the Tyranitar because even as Tyranitar, even if you're going for the HM power, mate, like you have to get on to the ranged attackers. But if they are, and these specific players are very good at it, if they're able to keep you at ranged whilst they drop that damage, what can you do? If you can't get onto them, it doesn't matter how much damage you can deal, and your HP is just going to be ripped.
I do want to say, when we talk about these compositions, which I don't think we talk about enough, sometimes when we sit behind the casters desk, we talk about compositions and we're like, well, what do we know? We're casters. I mean, we just theory craft here, right? But sometimes I just want to talk about just the supporters that complement those main carries going forward. No traditional healer on the side of Origato. However, Eldegoss was used. We know Eldegoss is very, very good. However, I do believe it's better suited to a specific top lane all-rounder running that top lane kind of role. When you're using I want to say a Tyranitar, for me personally, I think the best supporter right now for Tyranitar is probably Clefable. Not only can you get access to that follow me alongside that Moonlight, it's going to be super important because you're also giving the rest of your team AoE healing. Clefable's also bulky enough and tanky enough that even if you use follow me, a click move like Glacial Spears is going to go right onto that Clefable as well instead of your Tyranitar. Just a little bit of thought, because also 3 range attackers and no real dive coming out from the side of MTZ Esports. I know you want to highlight that Tyranitar, but they had Miraidon and Crossel. Now, I think this is only game number 2. So we saw, I believe it was Umbreon that was used in that previous game. You have access to Mamoswine. You have access to also, they could have taken Blastoise away from them as well to really stop that. I think just the choice of those those 2 key ones. Crossel, good, yes. Trap them in. Don't let them run away from Godzilla. But if you're not going to fall into the trap, you need something else. Mamoswine Ice Fang does a fantastic job here of picking them up, putting them down, and go, here you go, Godzilla, have a nice little snack for you. So just a few things from me to think about. Again, we watch Pokemon Unite a lot. We have a difference of viewpoints, seeing it at it from a top-down kind of view. So just my thoughts I wanted to give. I wanted to get your thoughts as well.
I agree with you, buddy. I think whilst the Clefable, 100% with you, I think the only other one is the Comfey, especially because, you not only do you give healing to that one specific carry, but also you can use moves that pull people in to that Tyranitar. So I think, Clefable, Comfey, they're the ones, and we didn't see much of that. The Eldegoss is a good shout, but I'm with you. It needs to be paired with a carry from the get-go, right? Tyranitar isn't a carry from the get-go. It's a Pokemon that needs those levels. And on top of that, no dive onto 3 ranged attackers is a bit crazy, mate. That is an easy win if you do that. But, of course, they picked those 3 ranged attackers whilst all those picks were locked in by MTZ. So they're on the back foot here. Of course, Arigato's managed to bounce back. It is still 1 apiece. As we have a look at these bans, they continue to remain. Ozu is going to pick up the Snorlax.
Snorlax. Gaddy's going to pick up a Blissey. I'm curious what kind of carry that we do, because we have seen MTZ Esports, they really like to put that emphasis on one Pokemon that can carry them all the way through the game, which I do like to see. Zaki's actually going to pick up Sableye, which I kind of like here. It caused a little bit of confusion into MTZ have a very concise idea when they go into these compositions. Sableye can throw a spanner into those works as well. Starzo's going to pick up the Aegislash, which I absolutely love. Now, I just want to go over these bands a little bit. Hoopa, Trevenant, Suicune, Slowbro, Lucario, and Decidueye, taking that range attacker Decidueye. Very interesting ban over here, but MDR hovering over another very prominent range attacker. Bubble07 is reporting for duty.
I like it. Big on board with it. That Azure Spy vision, trying to spot everything that's around in the bushes. Sableye around as well, so good shout there. Haru's going to lock in the Lapras. We're seeing so much of the Lapras in this meta, buddy. I'm so on board with it. But what we also see a lot of is that Delphox. We've already seen today how powerful that can be on the back of Cherry King. Aqua is going to try and show us that as well. It's all about that level 12, level 13 on that charge, that flame charge on it, mate.
I mean, the cooldowns are ridiculous on that flame charge, but also we talked about it before, how good Fanciful Fireworks is right now on this map, especially when you're defending scores at the late game, but also just being able to put that down inside a team fight right now, which is very prominent, a lot more prominent than they were in the Rayquaza days. Just putting that damage over time, tick damage as well, that slow that also comes with it. It's so good, especially when you have Pokemon that can jump on you like Aegislash can with those boosted auto slashes, as well as Mizu probably running that tri-attack build as well. So quick and deadly can it be, especially when you're hindered, and that's going to be the job of Zaki as well. Amara's going to pick up the big buff bug alongside Gaddy. Now I'm curious here, Tano. Helping Hand could be very helpful, but I think that's more prominent for the Garchomp, so we might not see heals come out, because when that Garchomp has a little bit of a helping hand, those objectives aren't going to be staying around for very long.
Nope, and I'm totally on board with it. I think Helping Hand would be a massive shout here, buddy. So yeah, 100% with you. I actually have a little Garchomp photo that you can see in the background. Look how cool that is. Look how cool that is, mate. That is a Garchomp, like,
I love it. I love the lines, the strong black lines on that artwork is so good. I also want to talk to you about one thing really quickly, Tano, and that is the choice of liquidation. Now, me being a liquidation player, because I can't hit snipe shots, I couldn't hit water if I was in a boat. However, snipe shots are another click and point move alongside that acrobatics that did get buffed as well. However, we're not seeing liquidation really come to the forefront at all. Talk to me about it, as we got a little gremlin gonna do some gremlin things with the invade.
I kind of like the idea of liquidation, mate. I shouldn't, but I kind of do, especially because, like, there's a lot of strong health pools on the side of Arigato. You do. Oh, the only one is realistically Delphox and Dodrio that you want to hit with the snipe shot, but Dodrio is hard to do that with. So liquidation gives you that sure hit.
Look, also just, you know, I have myself a little gold badge on Inteleon, mostly due to playing liquidation. Being able to parkour your way across all these walls on Their Sky Ruins is actually helpful. Also, once you are able to hit the Sableye, it does keep going until he decides to go back invisible. Delphox has evolved into a Fennekin, gonna take a KO on poor little Sobble. Don't cry, little buddy. You're gonna be nice and big very, very soon. But Lapras is a very underrated pick in defenders. Look at its ability to defend with just Whirlpool alone.
Yeah, it's so hard to take down, isn't it? That's why I'm loving this Lapras on the field now. And with that passive as well, you want people to hit you for damage. So I like it. It's exciting. MTZ Esports, though, we saw this in the earlier game. They do manage to get the levels, but they don't get the points to begin with. And if Arigato continue to give themselves plenty of points coming into that late game, it's a lot of catching up MTZ has to do.
Look, they've got Gabite on the field already, and they're just going to steal that farm away from Sableye. But Sableye is also able to take points away from the enemy team, which means we're going to have points raining all over the ground. Look how far Dodrio is into their own flux zone. Unfortunately, MDR is struggling to get online. Gabite's going to pop and eject real quick. Where is Sobble going? Don't you dare try and chase down a Dodrio, because that's going to be a problem. Blissey puts the smack down on Sableye and sends that little gremlin right back to the Pokemon Center. Reggie Drago has hit the field, and Gabite can rip it just as quickly as its big daddy Garchomp can as well. Druzal online to help it out, but Dodrio could come and chase, but nope, Gabite's gonna steal.
Yeah, and that was so important for the levels that MTZ needed as well. So, need points still, though. Dodrio's going to find the Gabite there, and they're looking for more. That's a double KO streak as we come in with the big sword. Walks into the arms of Amara. But now, the 30 dunk trying to come through is a little bit cheeky here, to be fair, buddy. But so much pressure on the Buzzwole. There's only so much you can do.
I mean, that pad's going to be gone, and Arigato are going to take that 104 lead, eating on into that 7-minute mark. Gabite's still not online yet, and Inteleon is just going to get online right now, access to that snipe shot ability, which we're going to assume that it's going to use. Doublade is a big problem here once it gets online to Aegislash. It's going to be able to hack and slash its way through. But Dodrio does what Dodrio does best, and that is cause problems all over. Holy! Bubble 07 has hit the field with a beautiful snipe shot.
Marksman level 100 there, bro, as they find that KO, and the sword is sent packing in the arms of Amara with a snipe shot to back it up as well. Delphox is going to find the Regice here for Arigato, but Regieleki is going to be ripped by MTZ. Got to watch out for the Sableye coming in. Tried to get it with a Confuse Ray, but no, they don't. That's secured. Snorlax trying to zone out Amara here, giving that up to Dodrio. They do put down the fanciful fireworks as well. They're going to find the KO onto the Buzzwole as they now continue to to push onto the side of MTZ Esports. They have to continue to run, both of them trying to defend this Inteleon here.
They hit an invisible Sableye in whilst it was retreating. Managing to secure that Regieleki was actually very important because they couldn't be chased down by Delphox. They had to go back and defend. Arigato, we have seen it the way they play, Tana. They really like to keep these score leads to themselves. They'll defend their pad to stop themselves from being scored against. And I think that's the smart play heading on in to Groudon right now. Snorlax does manage to steal that blue buff away, puts up that block, and it's going to run on out of here with the support of Delphox. That is cheeky Snorlax. How dare you play so sneakily? But there's a Dodrio jump kick, just going to make sure that it gets right on out. MTZ Esports looking a little bit confused right now, heading on into that 5-minute mark. They're trying to figure out what they can do because they've got problems all over the map, and they're being isolated right now in these team fights and not able to secure these KOs.
Coup de grace is going to come through as their spy vision is out though, buddy, and that's going to be it. Arigato is going to have to retreat because MTZ Esports has absolutely handled them here. Ozu's trying to disrupt that scoring. The block does come through, and there's a Lapras Express. Choo Choo Chain is in the scene as they drop the Livid Outrage as well on the side of Garchomp. The fanciful Fireworks is going to put in massive work here though. Sableye does get KO'd by the Inteleon, but the defense was there for Arigato, and now they are on the offense as they try to dive on through. The sword cuts down the Inteleon, and now they're trying to find the Blissey, but they're going to accept the farm for it. Trying to get some scores in on the T2 is a sneaky decision by Dodrio, but they are going to be able to retreat out of there, Lobo. A great effort from Arigato.
I agree with you. As soon as I said they were struggling to get their KOs, they got the KOs back. But now we've got a duel inside that central area. It's going to be Dodrio versus Garchomp. Blissey is here to help out. Dodrio needs to be very careful. If those 3 heads get grabbed by any one of those big claws of either the Garchomp, it's going to be GG, game over, good night. Snorlax is so problematic when it puts up that block and just decide to heavy slam their way across. Sableye gets stopped by the Lapras. Bubble Beam is a interesting move choice here to try and slow down Dodrio, but those bubbles I think are just too slow, Tano, right now to really cause much effect to this Dodrio, especially if it gets caught. It gets out very quickly. Sword's going to go in, pop that wide gut heavy slam alongside the fanciful Fireworks. Bliss Assistance going to come out as well. Dodrio's going to Ultra Sword slam the little Gremlin. That felt personal to me as Snorlax decides to take a nap in the middle of the arena. Delphox is going to put those flame charges on, but Snorlax gets out again. This is the trickiness of this Pokemon alongside that heavy slam and block combination.
Leaving the rip here to the Delphox whilst they pull so much attention from MTZ Esports. And the thing is, they've now hit level 12 on Delphox, buddy. This is why you run that flame charge, isn't it? Because it's so low on cooldown. They've just taken that Regidrago by themselves. As soon as they hit level 13 coming into the Groudon fight, they're going to be so hard for Buzzwole to catch. It's going to be difficult for Inteleon to get away from them. It's a smart decision to run it here because late game, it doesn't get any harder to be able to catch them.
I agree with you, and that tier 2 on that basement side has been opened up as well. Unfortunately, it's just a bit late because there are going to be no more Regielekis left to walk in. We are hitting that final stretch momentum, and this aggressiveness coming out from Snorlax is wonderful, Tano, from Osu. I was trying to read that name. I was like 2 centimeters away from my screen trying to read the name of the Snorlax. Aegislash going to provide a nice little defense here, but Blissey, this is not where you want to go right now, as Blissey is going to get KO'd by the boosters coming out from the combination of Aegislash as well. Right now, there are 4 members, and Garchomp is surrounded. This is not where you want to be for that hyper carry that is the Garchomp. And there's the flame charges coming out. The resets are crazy into the fanciful Fireworks. Fanciful Fireworks, they've taken this fight early, and they've team wiped MTZ Esports.
That is an example as to why you play Flame Charge rather than Fire Spin, buddy. Look how difficult Aqua is to catch here. It's got 0 cooldown right now, bro. They have to dive on in with the Dragon Rush. The shields are going to go on up, but Aqua gets out of there with that dash. MTZ Esports, they have to put more attention onto these all-rounders. There ain't no way you're going to be able to catch Dodrio and that ranged attacker as well.
No, you can't catch Dodrio. You can't catch Delphox right now. And a lot of the side of MTZ Esports just require them to manhandle their opponents. But what MTZ Esports are going to do now is they're going to go on the rip for this grab. Groudon, but it does not matter because they're 500 points clear at the top of the points are Arigato, and they've got 733 in. Even if they had full pockets, do NTZ Esports, they have a mountain to climb with 1 minute to go. However, Tano, they do have Groudon buffs. Having access to that Phantom of Fireworks does a Delphox have right now, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to put up the challenge right now, but the buffs are going to be too much coming out from Groudon alongside that Bliss Assistance. 833 to 385. I don't know if it's going to be enough because they just don't have enough points to score and no more bodies for them to take points off of, Tano.
Nah, not enough change on the field, as I like to say, buddy, for them to be able to cash in the win here. As Arigato, doesn't really matter what they do now. They've got so much of a score lead. I think no matter what, they're going to be able to take this second game, buddy. I mean, Dodrio's still going to go on in. Mizu's still going to try and score some more points. But look, 15 seconds left. It's still like 200 points between these two. That's going to be all she wrote for this, as it's going to be Arigato in this third game, taking it 2-1 and getting themselves onto match point.
I think that was beautiful match intelligence coming out from the side of Arigato. That's the way that Pokemon Unite is now being played, Tana. I don't know how many times we can mention it. I think people are going to get sick and tired of us mentioning it, but some people just don't know that this is not Rayquaza anymore. It's returned to Sky Pillar, and Groudon has fallen from the heavens and taken its place and given us a much more challenging game to play. But this is Pokemon Unite 2.0. It's saying the map looks the same, but the rules have changed. And Arigato showed that to perfection in that game. So they were in control from the start, man. Their composition's coming through. They've got their all-rounders, they've got their speedsters, and they've got Aqua. You can see the damage dealt by Aqua wasn't super high. Again, the side of MTZ Esports is it's kind of bulky, but I think the point of Delphox there is to put damage on. AoE damage, tick damage, fanciful firework damage, and just not be caught and be a nuisance. With that flame charge, especially with that super low cooldown coming into the later half of the game, especially in that final stretch, it's almost as hard to track down as a Dodrio is because it's just that quick and slippery.
Listen, bro, when your ranged attacker drops at least 25% of the team damage, they've done their role. But when your ranged attacker also receives the least amount of damage in the game, they had 21k that they received there, buddy. They have done their role to perfection. There's not a lot more that they could do in that position. So you're absolutely right, mate. That was the power of the flame charge. But Arigato had some great moments, because the thing is, whilst you're dealing with that range attack, you also have to then deal with the Dodrio that is constantly running around and being a nuisance to you. And then you've got Sword dashing at you, Snorlax dashing at you, and constantly having to worry about the threat of Sableye stunning you, scoring as well. It was a great comp that Arigato pulled out. But MTZ, every time I've seen them fight here, they've been fantastic, but they're letting Arigato get too much of a point lead too early on in these games, mate.
I agree with you. I do want to just give a quick shout out to Snorlax and Sableye as well. Again, two Pokemon that fit into that comp so well. Snorlax was able to absorb a lot of the melee pressure with that block and actually sustain themselves for a lot longer than they should have been. Unfortunately, with Snipe Shot coming out from Inteleon, it's just one kind of shot that you have, and if it doesn't hit, Snorlax is still going to be there to really just bounce you off its block completely. Now, we did talk about MTZ Esports, fairly new team into this competitive scene. So they're coming together with these comps, Tano. That game knowledge is just going to come. It's just going to come, getting those points in early, rotating to different things. We've already said it, we love the creativity coming out from the side of MTZ Esports. It's just getting a little bit of more of that experience on this new map as well. That is going to be key. And once they do, they are going to skyrocket. Absolutely skyrocket. They're already fan favorites. They're caster favorites. They're playing Pokemon that we don't usually see. They've got the creativity. They bring a bit of excitement to it as well. So now it's just about getting these experience and matches against the big boys, the established ones like Arigato, who you and I have had a chance to watch across multiple grassroots tournaments. We've seen these players play, and just the way that they're controlling the map right now with these Pokemon picks, with their choice choices going forward. They're playing a very intelligent game, as well as their map awareness is so good. They knew they didn't need Groudon. They just went and scored 500 points in the home pad.
100%, mate. 100%. They're now on match point as well. But the thing is, it's Fearless Draft, my boy. So what are they going to bring out to play? Because they're running out of ranged attackers there. I love the fact that we've had to put the Glaceon that big there because nobody ever plays Glaceon in the Fearless Draft picks.
I mean, I play Glaceon. Glaceon is my next gold badge acquisition. I've still got 30k points to get that Pokemon, which is a tall task. But enough about me. Let's talk about these players. Trevenant, Slowbro, Snorlax, so 3 tanks banned off from the side of Arigato. Lucario and Blissey going to join those ban jails as well. Zaki is going to pick up Suicune. First time we're going to see Suicune come to play today. Rhyme that 5 times, if you will, my dear friend. Gaddy and Haru going to pick up the Ho-Oh and the Hoopa.
The Ho-Oh here in Game 4 is very interesting, alongside that Suicune as well, but he already a great matchup there. But Arigato banning out 3 tanks is interesting, as Ozu is going to pick up the Absol so early on. We usually see those speedsters left until that final moment. They have a plan right now. Azumarill is coming out onto the field as MTZ want to try and go one-on-one with that Absol.
I absolutely love the Azumarill pick. I know people in our OS region, if you watch Worlds, Joe played Azumarill as well to great effect. He popularized that lovely Pokemon. It's a fan favorite Pokemon of our lovely Kellosaurus as well. So anytime we get to see Azumarill, I think this is the first time we're seeing Azumarill too. How did we forget Azumarill on the list of Pokemon that we haven't seen on Thea Sky Ruins? But what we're not going to forget is the fact that Amara has finally decided to bring out the hammer.
Buddy, it's time to go big or go home. MTZ Esports are going big. Amara's going to pull out the Tinker Ton. MDR is here on the Mewtwo Y. Haru is there on the Ho-Ho. Gaddy gets access to the Hooper. And then, as we've mentioned, the Azumarill trying to go for those one-on-one matchups is actually pretty good in this meta right now, buddy. It's not a bad Pokemon by any means.
No, absolutely not. But on the opposite side, we've got Aqua coming out with Cinderace. Now, we know that Cinderace is a great Pokemon for kiting. We always think, Cinderace. But good Cinderace players with that faint Blaze Kick possibility, or even that Pyro Ball, is able to do big damage. I think Cinderace goes very underrated, considering how many times and how many players or how many clips that have been shared on X of Cinderace is waiting in a bush and just trying to blazing bicycle kick that objective and try and win it. But however, this is not Rayquaza. I'll say it every single time. Cinderace can't just do that. But when it is forced to play, Cinderaces are on their game. But the key for this one for Arigato, which also we saw last time we saw Amara on that Tinkerton, was that Water Bear. That Water Bear came out at the exact same time last time as the Tinkerton, because it acts as that pseudo speedster, able to put out that big amounts of damage. Not just big amounts of damage, but quick damage, Tana.
That is so true. We're going into Game 4 here, buddy. Arigato on your purple side, MTZ Esports here on your orange side. They're sending the Azumarill into the central area, trying to get that Evo really early on.
I love that, because Tinkerton needs those stacks and those hammer stacks inside that top path. So it's going to gain those by just putting that damage on farm and onto the enemies. Azumarill, you can see, is already evolved. I think it's almost a pseudo-evolution at that stage. It's got great secure. You get access to Whirlpool or Aqua Tail at level 4, and then you can just get your stacks going forward. But here, Mewtwo's in a bit of a problem, because we've got a lane Absol coming to the fray, because, of course, Urshifu and Kubfu are going to take that central lane for Arigato.
Is it going to be Pursuit? Is it going to be Night Slash? I much prefer Night Slash, but Pursuit is so oppressive that it's difficult to handle. They do hit that level. No, they're not at level 5 yet. We're going to have to wait and see, buddy. Right now, though, Kubfu still in that top lane against an Azumarill. It's not an easy threat. In fact, they've hit level 5. They're waiting to decide what to go for. You're trying to bait it in, buddy, as they dash on through. Has to dash back out, and there we go. They now go onto that Urshifu, and it is going to be Water Bear as they try and dash through all that farm.
It's going to be Aquatail, and Cinderace is going to go down with that big crit. Azumarill likes those one-on-one battles. Here we go. Tinkertuff is in that den. There goes swing that hammer, little guy, as I saw 2 KO streak for Azumarill. Bring the Pika-Blue back to the main stage. Now, this is an interesting one as well, Tano. Absol, we're not used to seeing being on the back foot early because it's so used to coming out of that central area.
Yeah, absolutely. But they've got so many Pokemon they needed to get that early Evo onto that it might be smart here to actually rotate that Absol back into that central area or go for the Regidrago. You need Psycho Cut realistically, or the Sucker Punch. I suspect it'll be Psycho Cut on the Absol to really start to do that damage and take those hits onto the Pokemon like Ho-Oh.
Yeah, look, as we do see Water Bear is going to start this Regidrago alongside the help of Azumarill is going to be massive there. Umbreon's going to foul play to try and stun everybody up, but stun back is the side strike. Absol thought they were going to go in, but Hooper is going to reset them. Beautiful Whirlpool right on top of that hyperspace hole. That's going to be intentional that they made that Whirlpool the same size as the hyperspace hole.
Yeah, 30 points are going to rain on through. So there's another 30 to boot as well. Aru's trying to defend all the way down here, but look at the pressure MTZ's putting in that top lane. Of course, you've got to run the RNG here and just see who ends up with that Reggie in the top lane or the bottom lane or the Lecky. And realistically, you want to try and take one of these T1 goals as soon as you can. For that right now, we're just going to let Amara get all the stacks that they could possibly want while we have a level 8 Azumarill on the field, buddy.
I mean, look, they've taken away the Hooper Highway, which we always like to see, but this is exactly maintaining with Arigato's game plan. They like to score early, they want to keep that lead, but Absol finally hitting that level 8 is starting to output big damage, and Arigato showing the fact that they know their map well because they're now going window shopping inside the central lane of MTZ Esports. Mewtwo, I don't think can handle an Absol doing what it does, and there's a nice big overcap as MTZ Esports are going to take the way back in a beautiful kite of the Absol Unite move by Side Strike coming out from Mewtwo.
Oh, that's not what they wanted. They find both citrus berries, and it looks like Ozu might get out of here as Knight drops the Aqua Tail. But they got nothing from that Unite move and the amount of damage they dropped onto that Mewtwo Y. So Arigato not happy with that as they tried to push this T2 here. Going to use the Flowing Fist to find the KOs. The Lecky does go in. Points are scored. Arigato managed to consistently take this lead. But MTZ have responded in this game 3. But Moonlight Prance is going to come on through. But it's not going to do enough as MTZ defend it.
I mean, MTZ got back into the lead, and then Arigato took the lead right back up. Again, 200 points. So now they're back to a 100-point lead. Cinderace did score some points inside that top part. It's exactly 99 points between these two. But now MTZ are going to try and get their own back here. They're lacking Unite moves here. Amara swinging that hammer, but there's the Cinderace kiting well really nicely. And that is going to be almost a team wipe as their central laner is in the top path with absolutely no way to get to the rest of the team.
Arigato have just taken a 4-course meal out of MTZ there, buddy, and they've got the experience to show for it as they look to take down Azumarill here. It is the 1v1 god, but when you've got 4 Pokemon hitting you, it ain't easy to do much. We see the feint come through as well from Aqua as they find the double KO, and that is now hitting the levels of a Cinderace where the attack rate can begin to skyrocket.
I mean, they've now hit that Absol on level 11, which means these attacks are going to start hurting, especially with the amount of crits that Absol has. Hooper is going to get sent back to the Pokemon Center as well, and the oppressive fire coming out from the side of Arigato is just too much to deal with. The Endless Ice Spikes is going to try and give a little bit of defense to get Umbreon out, but again, the comp coming out from the side of Arigato really complements themselves. Urshifu did stay as that central laner, but it is now the second highest Pokemon tied with Cinderace, so that laner Absol actually come into great effect. They absorb that early pressure like very well, the Arigato, and MTZ Esports need to capitalize right now because this one-on-one duel is going to the side of that Absol.
Yeah, 21's going to go in. They know they're so weak that they can't realistically go up against the Pursuit Absol, so they're going to let that one happen while they rotate to the bottom lane as Shifu is going to find the Regieleki here for Arigato as we see Amara coming in with the big hammer ready to swing it around, but it's going to be Suicune that buys the space here for Arigato to get out of that situation.
Yeah, look, it's just so suppressive right now from Arigato. They've got the points lead, they've got the level lead, they've still got 3 Pokemon not hitting double digits just yet, and now Arigato are just taking these objectives off the map. They're defending this bottom lane away from this Regieleki, but Arigato, with their map sense, they can see what they're going to do, because Azumarill, like you said, it's the 1v1 god, but again, these points are just going to rain in. That's a 50 and a 39 heading on in, and this points lead just continues as Hooper calls roll. They're finally going to try and get some momentum in this game.
Just waiting for that Midnight Slash to come through on the side of Absol. They don't have it just yet. Manages to get away from Knight as the damage continues from MTZ Esports, looking to make the approach here. They are getting risky though. We're about the 3-minute mark. You don't want to be using Unite moves at this stage, buddy, but they're not going to need them as they find the KO onto Haru. Looking for Knight here as well, and that's going to be a triple KO for Cinderace. I called it. The late game Cinderace is next level right now, buddy. The attack speed on level 13 Cinderace is ridiculous.
I agree with you, but I think MTZ made just one little mistake there. Look, the Azumarill was fighting that Absol. They thought they could get the KO, but the rest of the team was still dealing with Haru on that Umbreon. They needed to just avoid the Umbreon. Foul play can only hit you so many times, but the focus on that Umbreon was not there, and their attackers came back. Their attackers were not focused as well. Umbreon doing what Umbreon does, but I think MTZ fell into that trap, unfortunately, to try and take down the Umbreon, which is a very, very hard Pokemon to take down. Absol could get taken down right now, but has to pop a late Unite move and picks up a 3-0K streak.
Absolutely annihilates Mewtwo. Why there with a 3k crit damage onto them in the back, and now Groudon is on the field, but again, Arigato playing to their style of play has so many points in the lead. Realistically, they don't need to go for this. They're going to try and bait in MTZ Esports. They don't have that Midnight Slash, but if they can find the KO onto Hooper here after the rings were let loose, that's no longer crowd control city on the side of MTZ Esports as they get KO'd one by one. They have found Cinderace, but unfortunately, they don't find the Shifu, and Arigato proves themselves to be way too much to handle. Rekindling Flame is going to come on out here, but they are pretty weak when they come through, and the endless ice spikes. Oh, Zaki, absolutely on point for Arigato there, being able to find those KOs instantly. And now the mountain has become unsurmountable for MTZ Esports.
Unfortunately, when those leaves and those feathers, I said leaf, when those feathers come down from a Ho-Oh, you can see exactly where your team is going to revive. And Zaki held on to that endless ice spikes perfectly and just stunned everyone back. Unfortunately, when you do get revived by Hooper, you're not back at full health. Again, there's still 500 points, 550 odd points between this with 50 seconds on the clock. If they can get the KOs, they might be able to work something here, because those KO timers are going to be very high. Absol's going to jump in with that Unite move, and it's absolutely going to obliterate what was left of MTZ Esports.
The thing is, right, I mean, of course, you know, Ozu's been very impressive on this Absol, but I honestly think since the Groudon dropped onto the field, Zaki has been the reason why Arigato have been so dominant at that moment, buddy. The freezes, the endless ice spikes, they were so on point that MTZ had absolutely no hope of being able to win that as soon as they found a couple of KOs. So nearly scoring the Thousand Island Wrestling here as well for Arigato. They're not going to be able to get it, but they're definitely going to take this one with a 3-1 victory.
I mean, they went down game one, and Arigato said it was time to lock in, and they did what they wanted to do. Again, we haven't gone to full 5 games just yet. I think this week is the only week we haven't gone to full 5 games. We've gone to 4, but an incredible performance. Now, let's talk about the comps one more time, because I don't think you and I spend as much time talking about these team compositions. The Unite Fight Club is about talking about the individual players, as we see 19 KOs coming out from Ozu, Aku with the 9, but the 17 assists and 14 assists coming out from Zaki and Starzerg were absolutely insane. Now let's have a look at these comps. Starzerg on the Umbreon did absolutely fantastic. Zaki on the Suicune did absolutely fantastic. They did what those roles were absolutely intended for them to do. Now, I want to talk about the side of MTZ Esports as well. For me, I'm going to go with the fact that I don't think Hooper was the right support for this comp. again, you've got an Azumarill, you've got a Tinkerton that are just there to do the damage. They're the one-on-one gods, and that swinging of that hammer is super important for both of those teams. But you also need something to lock down that Cinderace, lock down that Absol, and lock down that Urshifu. Ho-Oh, good choice. It's a tanky frontliner, but again, not much disruption coming out from the side of Ho-Oh. Hooper is a great support, but once you're going up against a Pokemon like, once you're going up against a team like Arigato, those tier 1s, they're not going to last very long, especially with the 70 now on that top side and 80 on the bottom side. The Hooper Highway is becoming less and less effective on Theosky Ruins Groudon edition.
Yeah, I'm with you, but I mean, you do want the maneuverability to be all around Theosky Ruins, but you're absolutely right. It's those points differences. It's huge. The thing is, we're in game 4 now. They've used so many Pokemon. It felt like it was all on the side of MTZ Esports. They had the Azumarill really early on, was beginning to snowball, but Arigato, man, they just bounced back at the perfect moments. I loved this, by the way. I think we're just going to miss it. No, it's going to come through here. This Rekindling Flame coming through, holding this endless ice spikes was so important for Zaki, and then boom, 3 of them hitting it. That's it, clean up Arigato's game from that point onwards. It's impressive play, but you can't take anything away from MTZ Esports. They're a new
Absolutely
team.
not.
So
Absolutely
impressive,
not.
Lobo.
And that's the thing. You and I get to watch these teams. We have a connection with these teams throughout all of EU, whether it's Mia Familia, whether it's Arigato, whether it's Guerrilla Tactics, whether it's Los Duros, or whether it is MTZ. I really need to stop calling them TMZ. I really need to stop calling them TMZ because it keeps going through my head. But these players are so incredible to come through and play in these tournaments. You know, it's not just beneficial for them, it's beneficial for us, you know, when I can wake up on time to get here and actually do all this kind of stuff. But it's a fantastic series that we've got going. This week is our, again, we've returned to the best of 5 format for every 2 days during the week. It's Monday night and Thursday night EU time. It's Tuesday morning and Friday morning for me here in OS. So we do those 2 best of 5s throughout the week for 2 weeks straight. And then we go into our open qualifiers where we have a tournament style where that goes to best of 3 and a best of 1 lower bracket round as well, double elimination. And then we've got a best of 5 grand finals with the person sitting in the winner's side having that 1 game advantage. Now, if you guys, gals, anybody want to participate in any of the UFC, you can sign up at the website, which is, I believe, Play Unite. I need to remember this.
I worked out. It is Play Pro /Unite, bro. PlayPro.Unite.
PlayPro/Unite. Please go check out the website. It is absolutely fantastic. We were able to showcase it earlier on in the week. You've got player ratings, you've got the player move pools, you've got the stats. You can even talk to the players and put a message on their message boards and highlight what you liked about them in these previous games. Now, we do have a very, very nice announcement, which I'm gonna let my boy Tano tell ya all about, buddy. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, look, next week we're going to be on break, chat, so we're not going to be bringing you this electric Unite Fight Club action. We need to take a rest. We cast so much, but after that, we have an exciting UFC Season 1 officially kicking off. And right now, you EU teams can go sign up for that, where we expect there to be a large prize pool. As we say large, it zooms straight into Lobo's face there because it is going to be a decent prize pool. But of course,
Don't know what happened to my camera.
It is limited spaces. Only 10 teams will be selected to play in this league. So even if there's 100 teams that have signed up, only 10 will be selected. So go over there, get signed up right now. Decent prize pool, exciting games casted by yours truly here that you see on your screens right now. It is going to be absolutely incredible, and I cannot wait to see that action kick off after next week, Lobo.
I want to say that the zoom in was intentional, but that was my camera having a mind of its own. So.
It was so perfect, mate, perfectly timed for me to say that. It felt like you'd done it on purpose.
I was 100%. I was as surprised as you were. But again, we love to have some fun behind the caster's desk as well. Tano and I are going to be here for the foreseeable future because we are running the UFC until the very end of the year. And this is also not the only place that we're going to do it. There are so many more things in the work, especially with the league format coming into play next season competitively. We are so excited for it. Groudon has given Pokemon Unite a fresh coat of paint, even though they've reused old assets for their Sky Ruins, but that's just me. However, we are so excited to be here, but that is our 2 best of 5s. Congratulations to both. I believe it was Guerrilla Tactics and Arigato. Thank you for the sides of Los Duros and MTZ Esports for participating today. Thank you for the 4 teams that participated on Monday. We love you guys so much, and we appreciate you showing your stuff here at the UFC. However, it is time for us to get up on out of here. Tano has to go to sleep. I have to go to work. So we're going to say our big thank yous and get up on out of here. Tano, take it away.
Yeah, of course, guys, you know, there is a massive production team behind the scenes here at INGAGE GG for Unite Fight Club. Do want to give a special shout out to Zenith, who came onto the mic with me earlier on, our founder, our creator, our OG boss here at INGAGE GG. Huge shout out to them. But of course, again, this wouldn't be possible without our amazing work behind the scenes. We have Zen for production. We've got Arpit that has been doing all of these scenes and all the production as well. And a huge shout out to Pasta, of course, who I believe is our observer, but also an intern at INGAGE GG, who is currently doing a bachelor's for esports at a university in the UK, by the way. Just a little bit of fact from behind the scenes for you there, chat. But a huge thank you to all of them. We wouldn't be able to put this on if it wasn't for those amazing people.
And look, big shout outs to you, Tano, as well, for joining me every single week. I love the fact that you and I get to do this twice a week, every week, but now we've got a break because everyone behind the scenes has been like, why these guys look so tired? Even though we are full of energy. We love being here. We want to support the EU region. It is my home away from home, and I absolutely love the players. I love the people. I love the teams, and I can't wait to see what you guys have in store for next season. I have been Lobo. He has been Tano. We will see you guys not next week because we're on break. We will see you guys next time. Follow us on X/Twitter. Follow INGAGE on Twitter. Keep up with your socials. We've got the Empoleon giveaway as well. We'll see you at the Sky Ruins. Bye-bye, everybody.